Here today from California. All right. Here we go. 2 seconds.
On the air since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show with...
All right. Welcome, everyone. It's 5 minutes after, 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, the Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 47 years on the radio this year. All right, we got a lot to cover, a lot to get into. We do have this hurricane coming, and I know a lot of people that listen to this program are in the direct path of the hurricane. This hurricane, Milton, is like the worst one that I've heard coming to Florida in my lifetime, although there's been some pretty bad ones during other times. This is a bad one. I saw one official up in Tampa, and they said, if you're in an evacuation zone and you're not evacuating, write your name on yourself. So when they find you, they can read. You know, I was talking to my wife about this because we both grew up in Florida, but when we were younger in different parts. And when I was in elementary school here in Florida, they used to show us all the time, every year, these documentary films about the hurricane that hit, and I can't remember what year it was, 1920-something. I forgot the year, but it hit Okeechobee, the Great Okeechobee Hurricane, and over 2,500 people were killed in that hurricane. And they would show us these, they were documentaries, and they had reenactments of the hurricane hitting here in Florida in the 20s, and it was a series of reenactments about people that were in evacuation zones that would not evacuate. And then, of course, at the end of the documentary, they were never to be seen again because they were killed. It was tragic. They used to scare us in school about evacuation zones in hurricanes. But this one is a bad one. If you are in an evacuation zone and they tell you to get out, you get out, okay? We'll talk more about the hurricane later, but there's a lot to get into involving this bird-brained Kamala Harris. There's a lot of drama going on and a lot of palace intrigue between her and Joe Biden. Joe Biden has really, this week, been working hard undermining Kamala Harris. You know, there was a report, few people have reported this on X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it. And there have been multiple reports that Jill Biden, the First Lady, right, that Jill Biden got into a physical altercation with a Kamala Harris staffer at the White House over things that have been going on. Have any of you heard that? Pretty amazing story. I haven't heard any of the mainstream talk about it, even to debunk it. So there's some truth to that story. How true it is, I don't know. There haven't been a lot of details. But Joe Biden has been working very hard lately to undermine Kamala Harris. He's pissed off because, well, he was deposed. They had a coup. He had the nomination. He's the sitting president. And they forced him out of the election. I mean, that's it. And he's pissed off. And this is not good news for Kamala Harris for a whole bunch of reasons, which we're going to talk about on the program today. And, you know, the thing that you got to understand, for a sitting president not to run for re-election is pretty much unheard of. And I know people keep talking about Lyndon Johnson. Lyndon Johnson was a whole other situation. First, he finished Kennedy's first term, had his own term, so he had one more term coming. But the polls showed that it was hopeless, that he was not going to be reelected, and he probably knew he was dying because he had cancer and died just a few short years later. But he knew that it was hopeless for him to win re-election, and he wanted to go out as a winner, not a loser. Biden is a whole nother thing, right? You know, Greg Kelly on Newsmax has done so much incredible reporting on Joe Biden. It's spectacular. And Greg Kelly found some old interviews that Joe Biden gave back in the 70s when he first got into the Senate. And he had said that when he got to he went into the Senate to be corrupt and make money. And when he first got to the Senate, he went to the party bosses so they would open up the books for him, and they said, you haven't been here long enough. So he was openly admitting back then that he was corrupt and he's in the government to be corrupt. So Joe Biden, he looks at a second term, and what he's thinking about is all the money he cannot steal from all these things like the war in Ukraine. Remember what the Hunter Biden laptop said, 10% for pops, 10% for the big guy. And, the thing you've got to understand with Joe Biden and why he's undermining Kamala Harris is beyond the palace coup. You got to understand why he's in office. And if you go and get Miranda Devine's book, Laptop from Hell, that book, I recommend getting the audiobook. It's a frightening book detailing the entire career of Joe Biden and everything from the laptop, and it is sick, twisted stuff. I mean, it was. In fact, I was driving from my house to Orlando, and it was early in the morning. It was like I hit the road early. It's like 4 or 5 in the morning, and I'm listening to Laptop from Hell on audiobook in the car. It was so disturbing. I pulled off the road in a turnpike rest stop, and I did a YouTube live stream talking about it. It was like reading the most frightening Stephen King novel you could imagine, because not only was this true, but this is the guy that's running the country. And what I picked up from reading that book is Joe Biden, the reason, this guy was retired, right? He was retired. He got passed over for Hillary in 2016. He had all kinds of deals going. And he came out of retirement to run for president because his son Beau died. And Joe Biden's entire family are junkies and just degenerates, right? Both of his children have every addiction that I've ever heard of except gambling. His brother is just as scummy, if not scummier, than Hunter. And you know how bad Hunter is. All right, remember Hunter? Joe got Hunter in the Navy without going to basic training, and he was only in there a month. He failed a cocaine test. Then Hunter turned in a rental car, had a crack pipe in the backseat. I mean, And Joe's brother is just as bad. Joe Biden's sister has run every one of his campaigns since his first Senate run. So they're a family of degenerates. And what Joe Biden's plan was for Beau, who had held office, and I'm sure he's just as scummy as all the rest, but he had a good public image of a politician, and he was supposed to take over the job that Joe had, leading the family and living a life of political corruption. He probably would have been the senator from Delaware and had an entire life of corruption just like Joe to support all these lowlives and degenerates that are in the Biden family. Then Beau died, and Joe had to go out and back to work because, no matter how many millions they have, with all these vices and addictions that everyone in the family has, they burn through the money. They're like lottery winners that burn through the money, right? That's what happens. So the only reason he came out of retirement and ran for president was to set his family up for the rest of their lives, and that's a 2-term process. And being forced out early has pissed him off a lot. So when we get back from the first break, I'm going to share a couple sound bites that show how Joe Biden is actively and very openly on national television undermining and sabotaging Kamala Harris's campaign and helping Trump win. I know that sounds crazy, but I'll share all that with you when we get back. If you're on hold, stand by. My name's Brian. Oh, yeah, we're just a few days away from Medicare open enrollment period. If you are a Medicare recipient, you want to call Debbie at I Will Advisors. It costs you nothing because she charges you nothing to review your policy. Okay? Make sure that your existing Medicare policy covers your doctors next year, including your specialist and your prescription medications. If you have a supplement, have her check and make sure you're not paying too much for that supplement. Maybe you don't have one and you need one. She'll get you a good deal there. And no matter where you are in the state of Florida, Debbie from I Will Advisors can help you with your Medicare. And remember, Debbie Klatzoff's family have been with the Steve Kane Show since 1993. You guys remember Adam, Captain Truth Adam Klatzoff? That's her father-in-law. He passed away years ago, and she's taken over the family business. So since 1993, the Klatzoff family have been helping listeners of this program each and every year with their Medicare. No matter where you are in the state of Florida, give Debbie a call. If you call early and get an answering machine, leave your name and number, and she will call you back. 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080. That's 954-753-8080. We'll be right back.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-COCAINE-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Hey, it's Scott Shea.
Why is it doing that? Yeah, I got it.
I was about to say, he sent to me like right at 6. So.
Oh, that's him?
Yeah. Mike
Um,
or Ryan, I think it might be Ryan.
don't let him do that again.
Make sure
Don't make a habit of it, right?
Gotta stand my ground.
Yeah, I'm serious.
No, I know.
I'm not kidding.
I was questioning it. I was just like, what? But,
Ryan Lemon here from the.
Mike was sure that he was
Ryan
just,
Lemon here.
really wanting to like go to detail.
Okay.
I was like, all right, like that's fine.
Here on the True Oldies channel.
What's today? Wednesday.
Large HOA complexes and churches with great success, and every one of those customers are like family. We have installed all kinds of roofs from asphalt shingles, clay, and concrete tile, standing metal seam, slate tile.
So what happened is, Mike, the board op, does the weather, right? One of the other board ops took it upon himself to decide he was doing the weather for the hurricane, and he already did the weather. And he actually, I guess he did it from home, and he just sent it and put it into the system. So that's what that is. So I was telling Mike, don't let him get away with that again, because he'll set it up and be doing the weather every day.
Hello, this is Mike at Friendly Tire. I've been in business 30 years at the same location and offering great deals on new and used tires. I have many suppliers, whatever.
My daughter is here from California. She came with me to work today.
On any tire. I also do tire repairs at very low prices.
You understand? It's like 3:17 in the morning for her right now, because she's 3 hours behind us with the jet lag.
Over the phone on new and used tires.
You're making me sound like a crackhead.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Let's see if she's awake at the end of the show.
About retirement. Hi, it's Kathy Green, co-host of the Jupiter Joe Money Show. Tune in Monday, Wednesday, Thursday at 6 p.m. and Saturday mornings at 7:30 a.m. to the Jupiter.
Everyone
Joe
says hi.
We answer all kinds of questions about retirement right here
go
on
in
your
chat.
True Oldies channel.
Now back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, hear us in Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the world at TrueOldiesFLA.com.
All right, callers on hold. Stand by. I'm Brian Craig, the Steve Kane Show. It's Wednesday. Before I go to the calls, I just want to play these couple clips to illustrate what I'm saying. That Joe Biden is actively undermining Kamala Harris. Here's the first clip. This is beautiful. I love this. I mean, this is like, I am of the opinion that Joe Biden is going to vote for Trump. Now, we'll never know this, but we know that George W. Bush, President Bush, actually both President Bushes voted for Hillary, and last time G.W. Bush said that he voted for Biden. And a lot of big Republicans, like Paul Ryan, who was Speaker of the House, and Mitt Romney, a sitting U.S. Senator, Republican, they're voting for they voted for Biden. They're going to vote for Kamala. They've openly said this. We're in a very strange political time. But based on what Biden's doing, and this started a few weeks ago, when Biden was at that campaign event, and there was a guy there wearing a Trump hat, and he handed it to Biden and to autograph it. Biden autographed it and put it on, and took a picture with a Trump hat on. I mean, you ever seen anything like that? I mean, it's beautiful. It's great. I mean, hey, anything he can do to help. So this is the first clip, and after I play these two, I'll take the call. So bear with me, guys.
There have obviously been a number of crises that the country has been facing over the past several days with the hurricane, with the port strike, with the situation in the Middle East. Can you talk about how your vice president, who is running for the presidency, has worked on these crises and what role she has played over the past several days?
Well, I'm in constant contact with her. She's aware we're singing from the same song sheet. She helped pass all the laws that are being employed now. She was a major player in everything we've done.
Hear that? She was a major player in everything we've done. The country's wrecked, and he knows this, right? Inflation is over 50%. People can't afford to eat, buy clothes for their kids, shoes for their kids. Can't afford to buy a house, can't afford to pay the rent, can't afford to buy a new car, can't afford to fill their tank up with gas with a life-threatening storm going on. And Biden comes out and says, Kamala is responsible for everything. She's my partner. Everything that's going on, she was involved in. That's great stuff. And I think he had the press conference just to say that. Now, this was beautiful yesterday. Okay, now the first part of this, hold on. The first part of this I talked about quite a bit yesterday, and then Biden did something. So, Kamala Harris, Willie Brown's girlfriend, Kamala Harris, she came out on the tarmac. 24 hours ago, I played this for you, and she forwarded this lie that she's been calling Ron DeSantis, and Ron DeSantis is refusing to take her calls. And DeSantis went on Hannity on Fox that night, the night before last, and said it's a lie. She did a lie. And he said, I talked to Biden. And Kamala Harris at NBC News have been floating this lie that Ron DeSantis is refusing to take calls from Kamala Harris. Well, then Biden came in yesterday and embarrassed Kamala over this. So the first part here is Kamala, and then I'll play the Biden part.
Governor DeSantis, NBC is reporting Governor DeSantis is ignoring your calls on hurricanes, resources, and help. How does that hurt the situation here?
Moments of crisis, if nothing else, should really be the moment that anyone who calls themselves a leader says they're going to put politics aside.
Okay, so there she is, floating the lie that she's been trying to call DeSantis, and he's refusing to take her calls. And DeSantis said not only is it not true, she's hurting in the polls, so she's trying to make herself a victim for sympathy. And then yesterday, Biden's at the White House taking questions from the press, and this comes up.
Has been cooperative. He said he's gotten all that he needs. I talked to him again yesterday, and I said, no, you're doing a great job. It's all being done well. We thank you for it. And I literally gave my personal phone number to call.
Okay, so Biden did two things. He praised Ron DeSantis, which is crazy, Ron DeSantis being a Republican and all. And this is after Kamala with her lie that Ron DeSantis isn't taking her phone calls. He praises Ron DeSantis. When have you heard a Republican praised by a Democrat president like this before? It's never happened. And then he says, I gave Governor DeSantis my private number. If he needs anything, he can call me directly at my private number. Oh, my God. You put those things together on top of that MAGA hat from those first two clips were just from yesterday. No doubt about it. He's undermining Kamala. Okay, let's go to the phones. Our number, toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning from Hurricane Alley.
Hey, Richie. Yeah, you're in the cone, right?
I'm within 20 miles, between 15 and 20 miles from the eye going through Palm Bay.
Did you put your shutters up?
Yeah, they're all up. And I got...
Mine aren't. Mine aren't. Should I put my shutters up? I don't know.
Oh, no, no, I don't think so. Here's the deal, Brian. I think this is all about the fact that Joe Biden for years has been a total racist, and the power-hungry people of the Democratic Party. See, we think they all get along, and they don't. They want the power. They're backstabbing. I think that Joe Biden supported Hillary Clinton and didn't like the fact that Obama became the president of the United States. I know Ben Bongino said that he picked Joe Biden and they hate each other. They went 8 years together and they couldn't stand each other. And the public thought they were the best of buddies, you know?
Well, and if you remember, if you remember during the Democrat primaries 4 years ago, Kamala, in that debate, called Biden a racist segregationist, right? I was that girl, you segregation. And believe me, they haven't forgotten about that.
No, this is all about, you know what this is about? This isn't about sabotaging Kamala. Who do you think this is about sabotaging? Joe Biden sabotaging Barack Obama, who behind the scenes is still running the show.
You know, she has not shown him. Well, first off, they had a palace coup. Okay, you know, he got passed over in 2016 for Hillary. He was the sitting vice president, and he had his wits about him still. He was pissed off then, and he's pissed off now. And people got to understand this, okay, about Joe Biden. I can't stand this scummy guy. He's the worst. He's the sleaziest of the sleaze. And a lot of people talk about the bizarre sex life of the Bidens. Do you know what Joe Biden's sexual preference is?
No, I really don't.
This is an old joke I've told. This is an old joke that I've told many, many times, but it never gets old. Joe Biden, his sexual preference is trisexual, meaning he'll try with anyone who will do it with him. So, you know, he is and I'm not exaggerating, he's the sleaziest of the sleaze, you know, and we know that, you know that, I know that, we don't like him. But he's been in Washington since Richard Nixon was president. He is very well connected, and he's got a lot of scummy friends. And I've been telling you that the old guard Democrat establishment are trying to purge their party. Kamala Harris was never meant to win. She is a sacrifice candidate meant to lose to Donald Trump.
Hold on. I believe that Obama wants her to win. I believe Obama forced her with the coup. I believe that Obama put her out for the last 5 days to do these interviews. This is Obama, and I believe Biden is attacking Obama, saying this ain't going to happen again. It's obvious to me that Obama is running the show here, and she's Obama's candidate. You know, Obama, if she gets in, Obama runs the country again for
Well, this is the thing, okay? And you're exactly right. Now, here's the way that the political parties work. The person who is the most recent president of a party is the leader of that party until that party gets another president. So what that means is, what Biden is doing here, Kamala's going to lose. She's going to lose big. I'm very confident of that. But Biden's helping us make sure of it. And when Kamala loses, even though Biden will no longer be the president in January, Trump will be, he'll be the leader of the Democrat Party until they get a new nominee in 4 years, okay? So he wants to angle that position to keep trying to steal money from the Ukraine war and all this stuff as long as he can. That's exactly what's going on here. If she were to become president, she'd be the leader of the party, not him.
But you're also going to lose Obama. If she loses, Obama is the reason why she's running. I'm telling you.
Yes. Yeah.
It's all about Obama.
Yes.
Gone if she loses.
That's correct.
That's why he's desperate, and Joe Biden is sticking it to him. What?
All right, Richie, I gotta run. If you're on hold, stand by. We're going to take our break for the bottom of the hour and be right back.
Making morning radio great again. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Is it? I can turn the air up. I keep it low.
Yeah.
No, those are done automatically. Yeah. Where am I? I've lost track of where I'm going to go next. Oh, yes. Okay. All right. Welcome, everyone. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. My daughter Emily's in the chat. Yeah, I saw you in the chat there.
Yeah, I was using emoji
I'm surprised.
I don't know how to use YouTube.
No.
But I'm learning. I'm being taught. There's some very helpful chatters.
I'm surprised she came to work with me today. She said, "Oh, can I come to the radio station?" She's never been here before, so.
I like this room.
Yeah, it's a nice studio.
Yeah.
This is the nicest one out of all the ones I've had, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nicer.
It's nice. It's a lot nicer.
The other one was also kind of scary to get to.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a nicer place. This is a much nicer place.
Yeah.
I call this the SpaceX studio. Hey guys, I pinned to the top of the chat. There's also, for those of you that are watching live, if you're not watching live, the link's in the description to my second YouTube channel, my clip channel. I know a lot of you have subscribed to that. If you guys click that link and sub to that channel and watch the videos, guys, if you don't mind too. And that's my clip channel. I put highlights from the show there, and I'd appreciate it. It's pinned to the top of the live chat, but there's also a link in the description of the video if you're not watching live. It's called Brian Craig Clips. So if you guys could sub to that channel, I would greatly appreciate it. Does Emily lean left, right, or the other? You're voting for Trump, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, she said yes.
I haven't registered to vote yet.
Yeah, they haven't gotten to her mind yet in California.
Well, they know because you mail in your ballot there.
Oh, did you vote yet?
No, I haven't. I registered, so I'm registered Republican, but at the same time, I'm like, do I want to vote? Do I want to send it in anyway? Because it's eventually going to go blue anyway, but I know.
No. You never know.
I'll be part of the red, the red California.
That's right.
I'll turn it red. But yeah, you just mail it in there, so it feels weird to be doing that. I don't even know where I go to vote. I just know I got it in the mail.
Yeah.
Get it in the mail. Like all the other federal too. I never knew what a mail-in ballot even looked like.
Yeah, we have them here, but I don't use them.
Yeah, I know.
You haven't done? Did you do it already? Did you vote?
No.
You haven't voted yet.
I wasn't registered in time to vote for the other elections.
Yeah.
Online, AppletonCairo.com. Open Monday through Saturday. Appointments not necessary, and walk-ins are welcome. 954.
Gary and Irma say hello. Gary's in the chat. From the cruise. Gary and his wife Irma go on our cruises.
What's up, guys?
Pain, burning, tingling in my hands and feet, muscle weakness, loss
Well, thank you guys.
muscle twitching.
Yeah, this shirt, this is Trump's high school graduation photo.
Call Lighthouse Medical Center for a free consultation. 754-222-6642.
Medicare recipients, listen up. Open enrollment is the only time of year you can make changes to your existing Medicare plan. Call Debbie at I Will Advisors, no matter where you're located in the state of Florida, for expert help this open enrollment period. 954-753.
Yeah, some people were asking me that my wife got me this. My Donald Trump Stanley Cup. I don't know where, it's not an official Stanley Cup, but it looks like a Stanley Cup. I don't know where she got it. I'll find out. But this cup, it's like a Stanley Cup, okay? I filled it up with ice and water, and a day later, the ice cubes were still in there. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it. But it's a cool cup, isn't it? Isn't that nice?
Let me see it.
It doesn't have a brand name on it. I don't see where it came from.
This is heavy.
It is heavy.
You gotta drink water.
It's much heavier than a Stanley Cup, but it looks cool though.
Oh, it's full of water.
It's full of water and ice. Yes. No, I haven't had any yet. I'll drink
Yeah,
it.
I can tell. It's all the water's in there.
I've been drinking coffee. I'm behind on the coffee.
Brian Craig here. Our 6th annual cruise is coming up, and you're all invited. This time, we're sailing for 7 nights on Celebrity Cruise Line's newest ship, the Ascent, to Puerto Plata, St. Thomas, and St. Martin.
It's gone up. The cone has moved a little south. I'll talk about it when we get back.
Private cocktail parties, group activities. We're going to go to the shows together and much, much more. Call Ian at Cruise and Travel Depot right now. 561-244-5779. 561-244-5779. And online at cruisingdepot.com to make your reservation and lock in our private group rate. Nothing comes close to Celebrity Cruises.
And now a message from Scott from CutMyKilowatts.com.
This is Scott from CutMyKilowatts.com. I'm back. Dog days.
If you're on hold, hang in there.
Your AC is struggling, running constantly, trying to hold the temperature, maybe even failing late afternoon. Electric bill is even double. Radiant barrier is the cure. Stop the heat gain, lowering the temperatures in the attic up to 40 degrees, cutting the FPL bills up to 40%.
Yeah, Emily flew over the hurricane yesterday when she was flying here and sent me a picture from the window. I put it up on my Instagram, Brian Craig Show on Instagram.
Did you read my chat and respond to my chat, or did you just come up with that?
What? No, I read it.
Oh, okay.
And I saw you sent the path the plane flew and everything around it.
Yeah.
1500 and talk to the owner Scott. That's 954-939-1500 or cutmykilowatts.com. Estimates given on the phone, work done in days, not weeks. Easier than ordering a pizza.
Back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig, celebrating 40.
All right, we are back. Call us on hold standby. 36 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian. Our number, 1-888-465-2631. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Jeff from Maine.
Hey, Jeff. What's up?
Hey, did you see any parts of that View interview with Kamala? They asked
yes.
anything, and she said nothing. And then CNN covered that, and they all agreed that they could not believe that she said that.
Which you know, I have that soundbite, and I was really debating. Well, you know, I thought maybe I would just tell people as opposed to listening to those coven members on The View and all their crap. But they asked her point blank, what if you were in Biden's place, what would you have done differently? She said nothing. And you know, we've got a war in Europe, we've got a war in the Middle East, we've got inflation over 50%. We have a massive crime wave with the Venezuelan gangs she's brought here. Over 25 million illegals have invaded our country. We have 2 major hurricane disasters. One's going to happen tonight. The other one in North Carolina, and FEMA's out of money. She would do everything just like this? Yeah, I mean, what a dumb... Well, she's a bird brain. I keep telling you, she's a bird brain.
And not to mention the debacle of the Afghan withdrawal and the loss of billions of our hardware, military hardware, and 13 lives.
And don't forget about all the Americans and those who worked with us for 20 years that they left behind, and gave the largest lithium deposits in the world, which are the key component to the EV batteries, is in Afghanistan. They gave all that to China.
And not to mention that her open border policies, they asked her about the border, and they said what she was going to do. She said, well, we've already cut it in half. You caused it. She tried to say, well, they've improved it without saying...
First off, I don't buy that number. They're flying people in over the border, so they're not getting counted. So any reduction that they have in the official Border Patrol numbers are only because the people they're flying in aren't being counted.
That's right, Brian. And every time she opens her mouth, she's lying. And I believe Biden is a real SOB because he is out to get her for what she did to him. Their infighting in the Democrat Party just helps Trump. I really think this is a blessing and
well, you know, what's going on, and I've been telling people, so many of you guys are new to presidential politics since Trump came down the escalator. But if you remember in 2016, Trump would say a lot in the 2016 rallies, say what you want about Democrats, but they always stick together. And that used to be true. And now there's a major civil war inside the Democrat Party with several different factions. It's like Game of Thrones going on.
You've got, and those different groups in the Democrats is the AOC type, the new gen, and the old establishment. And that old establishment's ticked. They're not going to give up with a fight. They are ticked right off. And I'm talking like Obama and the Clintons and the old school.
Mm-hmm.
And OC, they're going to lose their party to a bunch of lunatics, I think.
Well, that's good. That's awesome. The more lunacy, the better for us.
I believe that's a blessing. But I think Trump should run everything she's saying about not changing anything. She was in every major decision.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Joe Biden. Thank you.
Yeah.
Keep doing that.
And I, we 27 days, and they're shooting themselves in the foot, huh?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's how I see it.
It's awesome. All right, I appreciate the call. Jeff from Maine, take care. Did any of you see Melania on the 5 yesterday? It was amazing. I watched it. And she's amazing, and she looked great. I mean, did she not look great? She was very comfortable, and it was a very good interview. And Jesse, I do have a little criticism, of course, which I'll give you. But Jesse Waters, he asked some good questions. But what he did was, I was watching the 5. I did not see it live. I don't watch Fox, and I didn't know she was going to be on. And right after I heard, so I went back and watched it. And I watched the whole interview with Melania. And 2 things I'll say of criticism, because, I'm always going to have criticism for Fox, right? One, this is just me. I'm talking about Melania now, but she's not here. If she were here, I would not call her Melania. I would call her Mrs. Trump. And none of them called her Mrs. Trump. Did you notice that? And I didn't care. I didn't like that. Having Melania on that sit down for the 5 is a big deal. I mean, that's like having Nancy Reagan sitting. I mean, it's amazing. But Greg Gutfeld, did they not know this interview was coming? Because they did some long shots when Melania was talking, or when Judge Jeanine was talking to her, or Jesse, or Dana Perino. And I like Greg Gutfeld. I like Greg Gutfeld a lot. But he was flipping through her book while they were talking, looking for something to ask her out of the book. And he obviously had not read the book. You don't have to read the book to do an interview like that. I interview authors quite a bit. Rarely have I read the book, if ever, once or twice. I mean, you don't have time to do that. But I thought it was disrespectful that they didn't call her Mrs. Trump, that they called her Melania, and that Greg Gutfeld was thumbing through the book while everybody was talking, and her desperately to sound relevant by having a question from the book. I didn't really care for that too much. But they did ask good questions, and she was spectacular, Melania. And they asked her a lot, and she did give them a little thing. Like who was it that asked? Was it Gutfeld that asked if he sleeps in pajamas, and she says no, and then she put a little zipper over her mouth, Melania. But she was asked this one question about this threat to democracy and the assassination attempts on President Trump, and this is what Melania had to say.
Of course I do. Yes, I do. I think, when they call him, he's a threat to democracy, let's ask ourselves, who is really a threat to democracy? They are ongoing with the lawfare against the former president, as well as, trying to get him off the voting ballots and trying to, silence him. So, yes, of course, I was always afraid what can happen, and that they continuing with that kind of language is just, it's a toxic atmosphere.
Yeah, it was a very good interview, and I don't want to knock it because it was a very good interview, and I was impressed with the 5, and I was also impressed with her a lot. She did very good. It was a very good interview. She brought up a lot of good things. But that in particular, They shot President Trump once. They had the Iranian plot that they foiled after the first assassination attempt when that never Trumper shot Trump. Then we had the golf course assassin here in Florida. So there's been 3 assassination attempts in 2 months, and they're still on TV all the time, calling him a threat to democracy and a danger and this and that. You know, in broadcasting, people think, oh, freedom of speech and all this stuff. You have freedom of speech for the most part, except in rare instances. And the major one is you don't have the freedom to use your speech to incite violence, the incitement of violence. I give you an example. People often say, you can't yell fire in a crowded theater. Well, you can. That's not true if there's a fire. If you yell fire in a crowded theater and there's no fire, right, and people get stomped to death, then you've committed a crime because you incited an incident that got people hurt and killed. There was no fire, but you yelled fire in a crowded theater, so those people that got stomped to death, you incited that action, that violence of them getting stomped to death, you've committed a crime. You understand? You can yell fire in a crowded theater if there's a fire. Or you'd probably get away with it if there's not a fire, if no one gets hurt. But if somebody gets hurt or gets stomped to death, there's some manslaughter charge coming against you on that. Well, that's what's going on The View and on MSNBC and these other jerks around the country after there's been 3 assassination attempts in 2 months, one of them where he got shot, and they keep talking about the dangers of Trump, the threat to democracy. They are inciting violence, literally, because we've had it happen 3 times against him. And that's criminal. And they're so deranged with their Trump derangement syndrome, they don't even realize it. All right, we're going to take our last break of the first hour and be right back.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered more.
All these rejoins you wrote. All these rejoin sounders, you wrote those.
Oh, really?
All of them.
I wrote those a while ago.
Mm-hmm. They updated them, and they didn't use them all the first time. I gave them the rest that you wrote. They, you know. I'll give you credit when we get back. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll give you credit for that when we get back. I don't know if I've ever done that on you.
Hype myself up because I didn't
Mm-hmm.
They are pretty good. I'll give myself that. They make strong coffee at that Starbucks.
I know.
I feel like my brain just had all of the hydration sucked out of it.
Yeah, they have the best coffee. You want the caffeine.
Well, yes, but I feel like my brain just lost all of its moisture. Like my body just absolutely burned through all of my resources. My gosh. I feel like my brain got squeezed like a sponge.
Mm-hmm. That's why I drink the coffee and then the water.
You should probably drink the water first.
I do
Caffeine
too.
will last longer.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's more resources.
Yeah.
Hi folks, Anita Mitchell here. Please join me on Tuesday at 7 p.m. for What's Your Story with Anita Mitchell. Join me this Tuesday at 7 p.m. for What's Your Story.
Emily sounds like her mom.
That's on the True Ultimate Station.
When it comes to dental work, there's no one better than Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. But don't just take my word for it. This is Richie the bus driver. He called in on the air to share his experience with Dr. Gupta. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Richie, Dr. Gupta. I go 139 miles to this guy. I had a broken tooth. He fixed it. It was supposed to be temporary. It lasted 2 years.
Yeah, I can see how I could sound.
In my mouth that are a lot cheaper than anybody else. And he's excellent and no pain.
You might also be affected by them.
Mm-hmm.
He's the best ever. So I want to get that out of the way.
Listen to Richie the bus driver. Go see Dr. Gupta at Brighton Dental. 954-922-4633.
Yes.
How do I do that?
I don't want to say the password because I've got my mic on. Let me see.
It's
I'll
just the Wi-Fi password. Nobody has to
I want to. So I'll show you.
Okay.
Use the guest one,
Okay.
and then that's the password.
Okay. I like that password.
Now the Steve Kane Show is on the air.
All right, we are back. I'm Brian. You listen to the Steve Kane Show. You know, my daughter Emily is here from California, and she's on California time, so it's coming up on 4 o'clock in the morning for her. She's here. But I was telling my daughter during the break, and you didn't even remember doing this, all of the bumpers and rejoins on the program that you hear going in and out of the break, right? Making radio great again and all that stuff. My daughter Emily wrote all of those. She's a writer. She wrote all of those. And then, of course, got the voiceover guy here at the radio station that did them. And you forgot even doing those. But, yep. And Emily's been coming to me to radio stations all her life. And I remember when you know, my daughter was like 3, 4, 5 years old or had a sick day from school, you'd be laying on the floor in the studio while I was on the air. So now things are a little different. But this is most definitely, she said, the nicest radio studio that she's been in. So that's I told you, this is a very modern radio station we got here. All right, welcome back, everyone. And before we jump back into the issues, I want to remind you, Mike Lindell at MyPillow, an incredible special going on right now. The MyPillow that started it all, just $14.88. The regular price is $49.98. But right now, with our promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E, just $14.88. The lowest price ever. Great time to do your Christmas shopping. And, of course, free shipping on all orders over $75 with our promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E. So take advantage of that. All right. So what's been going on here, is this the clip I wanted to play of Kamala? Hold on a second here. Is this the one? Okay, yeah, that's the one. Kamala has come in with a new accent, okay? We've heard her do a southern... Now, keep in mind, she was born in Berkeley, California. When she was 9, 10 years old, a little vague in her bio there, her parents divorced. Her mother took her to Canada, and she grew up in Montreal, which is where the French Canadians live, until she graduated high school. And she has all these accents. Now she's come in with what I think is this a Jamaican accent? This is her on Colbert. Have you no empathy, man? Yeah, that sounds Jamaican, or is it Haitian? I don't know. Is it Haitian? I think it's Jamaican.
Have you no empathy, man? You know, for the suffering of other people.
And it continues through the whole conversation. You know, I saw a story on 60 Minutes Australia. 60 Minutes Australia is pretty good. So is Sky News Australia. If you ever watch these online, they're very good, unlike the media here. They did a story on 60 Minutes Australia. An Australian woman, she had some type of injury. She was unconscious. She woke up and had an Irish accent. And I've heard other stories of people waking up with bizarre accents, but all of a sudden on Colbert, Kamala came out with this, I think, a Jamaican accent.
Have you no empathy, man? You know, for the suffering of other people. Have you no sense of purpose?
Okay. This is the most bizarre ever, because usually with these accent things with Kamala, they're very brief, a word or two. She's on stage, the audio's not that great. This is on the couch with Stephen Colbert. So we have perfect sound, and the accent continued through the whole conversation. So what is this about? And I've been wondering about this myself. And, a lot of people have speculated, well, she's speaking to a certain group, so she has an accent. Kamala is a stupid person. We know this. I mean, over the weekend, she was giving a speech, her teleprompter broke, and she repeated the last half of the same sentence 3, 4, 5 times. Okay? Trump was giving a speech over the weekend. His teleprompter stopped working, and he continued on like nothing happened. Kamala Harris is completely coached, and everything she says is coached, is prepped, prepared. So when she was on that Oprah Winfrey supposed town hall, remember? It was caught on the teleprompter. Kamala was reading the answers to the questions she was being asked in the Oprah Winfrey town hall a couple weeks ago. Pretty embarrassing. Somebody that was backstage got a picture of it. So this is what I don't have a definitive answer to this, but this breaking out in these bizarre accents, in this instance, a Jamaican accent for the entire sentence. Is it possible that she takes on the accent of the person that preps her for that particular speech, story, or interview? Right? Like they tell her what she's got to say over and over because, she's got to memorize this one. They can't use the teleprompter on Colbert. Is she taking on the accent of the person that preps her? That's the only thing I can think of. She's really a very strange woman. Let me pull it up here. Hold on.
Have you no empathy, man? For the suffering of other people, have you no sense of purpose?
You see, the whole accent goes on for the whole thing. The only other time I've heard someone really do this accent, not Hillary Clinton, who sometimes would sound Southern, because Kamala takes on multiple accents. The only other time I've seen this is with Madonna. When Madonna married Guy Ritchie, all of a sudden Madonna had an English accent. Remember that? That was the only other time I've seen it. And the reason that Madonna did it is she wanted to sound more cultured because she feels like, white trash or something. But other than that, I've never seen something like this happen before. And I got to tell you, it is one of the most bizarre things I have ever seen. Now, after the top of the hour, I got a bunch more we're going to get into. A lot of things have happened. We'll also take more calls. But a few more things with Kamala. A lot of things have happened. Some things with Trump. We'll also talk about the hurricane and a whole bunch more. But right now I want to talk about Angel Water and the Angel water purification system, which I had installed in my house about 2.5 weeks ago. And I have, every day I've been bringing my Angel Water here. All the water in my house is filtered before it enters my home. The Angel water filtration system is outside, and all the water is filtered, then it enters the home. And what that means is all the water in my home, my sink, all my sinks, my kitchen sink, my bathroom sinks, my dishwasher, my refrigerator, my ice maker in the refrigerator, my washing machine, my hot water tank, all filtered water with the Angel water filtration system. And what that does is actually make sure appliances last longer. How many, Richie and I were talking a few weeks ago about how when we were kids, it seemed like appliances lasted a long time. And we're always buying new washing machines and dishwashers and refrigerators. It's because all of those chemicals, those forever chemicals and all these other toxins in our water just really wear out all your water-based appliances, like your hot water tank. How many times have you replaced a hot water tank? Do you remember your parents doing that when you were a kid? I don't. But it's not just that water. The water in my bathrooms, the shower, the bathtubs, the bathroom sinks, even the toilet water is filtered, believe it or not, from the Angel water purification system. And when Rocky from Angel Water came to my house and he was testing my water, which he'll do for you at no charge, I'm going to give you the number for Angel Water in a minute. Give them a call. Rocky will come out and test your water, and you'll see what you're drinking and what you're bathing in. I was shocked, and you will be too. You don't want to be drinking that stuff that's coming out of there now. But I was telling my daughter last time she was visiting from California, she didn't want to shower in the house because the water just was awful compared to that, I guess, that Southern California water they have out there. And my wife and I have had this experience. My daughter, who just came in yesterday, took a shower, had the same experience. The water coming out of the shower from the Angel water purification system, my hair feels like it's been conditioned, and my skin feels like I've put moisturizer on it when I get out of the shower. Because I'm clean for the first time. I'm getting all the soap off me, and I don't have all those forever chemicals and everything on my body and in my hair that I had with the old water. It's absolutely amazing. Now, Angel Water has an incredible offer for listeners of our radio station. All right, now you got to tell them that I sent you. They're going to give you a free under-the-sink reverse osmosis system, which I have, with the purchase of a whole house refiner, which I also have. That's what's filtering the water outside. Also, 12 months no interest financing with no prepayment penalty. Wow, it's a pretty good deal. Call Angel Water today. Have Rocky come out and test your water. His number, 561-899-6585. 561-899-6585. That's 561-899-6585. All right, callers on hold, stand by. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. We'll take our top of the hour break and be right back after this.
WSF 104.3 HD3 Miramar, WIRK 103.1 HD3 Indiantown, and heard in Broward on 96.9 FM, Boca Raton 95.3.
It's amazing.
My hair feels good too.
Your hair, yeah, see, she says her hair feels good. It's awesome. You getting tired now? Kitchen.
No. I need to walk around. Are there any ladies here who know the bathroom door?
Yeah, it's on the door.
Oh.
I'll show you where. There. I'll text down there. I'll text you the code to get back in though, down here, because you got to have the. You got to go. It's at the end of the hallway.
I'll go later.
Right outside the elevator. Is that the Pro or the Air that you have?
Brought to you by All Year Cooling. Enjoy free AC replacement estimates along with same-day service and installation. Visit allyearcooling.com to schedule your service.
Yeah, they are, aren't they?
And remember, the All Year family is here to serve your family all year long.
I'm gonna get a monitor stand so I put my monitors like on top, like on top of each other.
Well, I was
So I don't, like,
wondering.
look to the side
Okay.
against my neck.
I need some tech support. I was wondering, Emily, if I've got those two monitors that you left on that stand. I'd like to take one of those.
You have a 7 a.m. update.
Oh, did you send it to me?
Just send it now, like a second ago.
Check Allstate first for home today. You're in good hands with Allstate. Bad traffic. I've already gone.
Traffic.
I was wondering if you could take one of those monitors and replace my left side.
Oh, on your desk?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I'd like to have both of them with my main one, but I don't know if you.
It's not a station?
Yeah,
You don't even use 3 right now. Why do you?
I know, but it would look cool.
Okay. You're all about the aesthetic. What are you gonna put on?
Well, the one monitor, the extra monitor I have, is not that good right now.
You should do it where it's like two like are stacked, like on top of each other, and then do one.
Are you already retired?
Because I'm trying to do it where I have one on top, one in the middle, like my main monitor, and then I just have my laptop if I need it. But I don't.
You could take one of those monitors and put it on my.
Do you have a stand?
Well, the monitor's on a stand now.
No, it needs a better.
I could buy a new stand.
Thomas is president of Retirement Network Advisors, South Florida's premier retirement experts.
Good morning, everyone. Right?
You've seen it all.
Instead of having one stand for two, I use 2 separate stands.
Yeah, it's kind of that one extra monitor that I.
That latest advisory around 8 a.m.
Is just a little blurry.
Retirement know-it-all. Mention my name, Brian Craig.
You know.
A free copy of his ebook. Go to jupiterjoe.com or call
Oh, I got
561-743-09.
I don't know, Mike. This is a bad habit for him to start.
0999. Take advantage of his free phone consultation too. Go to jupiterjoe.com.
Yeah, the other board op's doing the weather reports from home and sending. He usually does the weather. He's taken his. It's kind of rude. It's really rude to do. I would be really not liking that. I'd be pissed off.
Who usually does the weather?
Mike does the weather.
You should just record it anyway, like give that to you.
I agree.
Yeah. Who is this guy? He's not.
He's the board op that comes in after him. I would not like that. Mm-mm. He's preempting him. It's really rude. The guy's a nice guy. I don't think he realizes what he's doing.
Maybe he just really likes the weather. It's the hurricane. Things are different during hurricanes.
I wouldn't do it.
There's less natural disasters. You let them have a moment, I guess. If you put it
It's very rude. It's very rude.
When you need lab work, don't waste hours and hours waiting at the doctor's office or one of those big labs. Go to any lab test now of Boca and any lab test now of
I really want like a wrap from Paulette. I've never had one.
Doctor's order or prescription is needed. And you're in
There's a
and out.
Publix next door if you want to drive there.
For every lab and blood work your doctor can order. They even have drug testing.
Oh, they don't have chicken tenders at 7 a.m.
No.
Visit any lab test now of Boca and any lab test now of Coral Springs. There's lots of
The board op that comes on after Mike has been doing the weather was doing the hurricane updates yesterday, and he's taken it upon himself to do the morning hurricane updates today at home, and he's sending them to Mike. All right, coming up on 6 minutes after the hour. Hour number 2 has begun. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. On the radio since 1977. Our number toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Conservative.
Oh, hey, Doug.
Man, I'm glad we're going to be safe down here, but those poor people up there, Category 5, man.
Okay, I was watching, I'm not going to say which channel this was, because I watch the local news for the weather sometimes, okay, in times of trouble like this. And there's only one television meteorologist that I like and trust. I'm not going to tell you what their name is because, I don't know, do we have a deal with one of the TV stations, right? I think at the radio, so I probably shouldn't, I don't know if it's the one that we work with or not, okay? But I was watching this, one weather update early this morning before I came to the radio station, and we are not in the cone, okay? Which, there's a couple things going on with Milton that I don't like. I've been watching not just our local news, but I've been watching online the local news up in the Tampa Bay area too, on top of the Weather Channel and everything, because, for the hurricane. And I'm watching a couple things going on with the local news. Now, the local news and the Weather Channel and all this, when there's hurricanes coming, this is when their ratings are an all-time high. So they get all excited and they want you to keep watching. The local news in Tampa keep talking about what a great thing it would be if the hurricane continues to shift west and misses Tampa. And I'm like, well, what about the people in Fort Myers and Sarasota? It's not too good for them, and I'm watching them. They're in their viewing area for these stations, and I'm watching them over there on the West Coast, like wishing, even the Weather Channel and them are talking like this, what a better thing it would be if Fort Myers or Sarasota gets hit. Not if you're in Fort Myers or Sarasota, which is very strange, but we're not in the cone as of now, right? Is it switched again, Mike? Okay, no, we're not with the latest. And I'm watching one of the local weather people, the one that I like in all of South Florida, and they do this, I don't even want to say the gender, they do this report early this morning saying that even though we're not in the cone, since we're beneath the hurricane, the bottom right of the hurricane is where the strongest winds are, the bottom of the hurricane. Even though we're not in the cone, we could get the strongest winds. I've never heard that before in my life. I'm not a meteorologist, so they are. So I don't know. I mean, they know more than me. They're the scientist, just like Fauci, right? But I've never heard that before, and I don't know if that's true or are they just trying to make sure that I watch them as opposed to watch. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, that sounds a little strange. I've been in several hurricanes here, and I've never heard anybody say, the people outside the hurricane got the strongest winds. There's always...
I fully expect to get tropical storm force winds, but that's just a Saturday in Florida, to me.
Yeah, that's right. No big deal. Yeah. The other thing, I mean, I was going to say something about the election, but first, since we're talking about this hurricane, all these people who are so worried about the hurricane being caused by man, you know, everybody needs to think about one thing. We have all these active volcanoes. That one volcano that went off in Iceland, they said made more carbon than man made since the beginning of time together. So all that carbon came out for all mankind from history, and nothing happened to the planet.
Listen. This thing about hurricane. There are not more hurricanes, and there's not more bad weather than there used to be. The difference is everyone has a high definition 4K camera in their pocket. Everyone. And they can upload it to the internet in 2 seconds. So we see things that we never used to see before, right? And we see a lot more of it. So there, you know, like when I was talking about this big hurricane in the 20s in Okeechobee that killed 2,500 people, okay? One of the reasons 2,500 were killed is because they didn't have modern communications and weather predictions and things like this, you know, and they, you know, and buildings weren't made as well as they're made today. But, you know, there's not more bad weather. But I'll tell you, there was a call here, and I'm open to being wrong about something. I wasn't going to bring this up, but I think I will. There's a lot of talk going on, and Marjorie Taylor Greene started this, that the government has some type of technology where they can control weather, right? And a guy called me yesterday from Palm Beach, and I laughed at him. I said, that's ridiculous. And I was overloaded yesterday with DMs and emails and comments and everything from people sending me articles and videos, and I went through and read a lot of them and watched a lot of it. And in fact, I was wrong. It is true. Not only is it true, it's very true. And there's a lot of government work into the control of the weather. And so that guy in West Palm that I laughed at yesterday, my apologies, because, you know, yeah, I was wrong about that. And I didn't realize, I guess I've been living in denial.
Well, you know, hang on a minute. They're working on stuff to do it, but they really have I know they see the...
Well, here's my question, okay? Cloud seeding has been around since like the 50s. Where they make it rain. And, you know, and I remember learning about that when I was a kid. So, but this is beyond cloud seeding. And there's a lot of people who say cloud seeding. Now, again, I'm not a scientist. I'm not a meteorologist. I'm not a weatherman. Okay, I did take earth science in college, and that's mostly about weather, a lot of it, you know. But I don't even remember that class, to tell you the truth. I can't even remember what a cumulus cloud is, be honest with you. However, I've been through a lot of hurricanes and experienced a lot of bad weather. Some of what I was reading yesterday said that cloud seeding can be actually used to manipulate weather, and many people believe that cloud seeding technology has been used to manipulate hurricanes.
I doubt it. You know, I think man would like to, but I don't think the technology is ready yet. You know, it's like trying to make it. Oh, we're working on a transporter.
No. Well, I know what you mean. I'm not completely sold on it, but you know, this is the thing. Okay, remember I had that idiot from Sarasota. He's obsessed with climate change. You know, this climate change racket thing that they run, it's not climate change, it's man-made climate change. See, what the leftists argue is that human activity is altering the climate of the planet, okay? And, of course, we all say that's ridiculous. But the people that are saying that the government has technology to control weather are the same people that are saying climate change is not real. So what I'm telling you is, there's a bit of a conflict here that I am open to explore and have someone explain to me, all right? If man-made climate change is not real, then how is the government having this technology to control weather is real? What I mean by that is, if the government has technology that can control the weather, wouldn't these liberal loons be altering the climate to fit the global warming theories to get us behind all that garbage? Is that too heavy for this morning? I don't know.
By 9 a.m. the morning doom was clear. Come on, man. Maybe something in 50, 60 years, maybe they'll have something. But right now, we don't have anything to take. Otherwise, there would never be any drought. There'd be never hurricane. I mean, come on. These people, are they making hurricanes on purpose to try to wipe people out?
Well, I always tell, that when I was a kid, okay, there was so much, there was like an obsession with the Bermuda Triangle, right? They used to make movies about it, documentaries, and all this stuff. And I was fascinated by the Bermuda Triangle. And then as I grew up and got into the real world, I realized what the mystery of the Bermuda Triangle is: hurricanes. And all those planes and ships that disappeared long ago were in hurricanes before we had modern tech, for the most part. And I, I've lived here. I grew up in Fort Lauderdale. I've lived in South Florida my entire life. I don't know a single person that went missing in the Bermuda Triangle, right? And every time you go swimming at Fort Lauderdale Beach, you're swimming in the Bermuda Triangle because that's one of the points of the Bermuda Triangle. So, so there's always been hurricanes. There are not more of them. No. I don't know. I think I'm getting too cerebral for Doug. All right, appreciate the call. Too cerebral this early in the morning. I get it. But there's, I'm open to this idea of the government having the ability to control weather, but you would have to explain to me why the leftists, these globalists that have so much power in the world, are not using this technology to show that man-made climate change is real, to try to get us on board with that. You understand what? Am I making sense? I don't know. It seems like crazy stuff. Listen, we'll take our first break of the second hour and be right back.
I think you're making sense.
Yeah, it's a question. I don't know. Getting tired? You look tired.
Scott with a quick reminder that the greatest hits of the 60s and 70s are back on the radio right after 10 a.m. this morning. Check it out on South Florida's True Oldies channel right here.
Are you feeling safe and secure in your home? Unfortunately, millions of Americans are vulnerable to break-ins every year. But what if you could have peace of mind knowing that your home is protected 24/7? At Solomons, we understand the importance of home security. That's why we're offering a free home security system with free professional installation. When you use our low-cost central station monitoring,
I'll finish the story. Okay, I don't want to do this on the air, because if I do this on the air, on the radio, it could cause all kinds of, I don't want to start a board op war. Mike, our board op, does the weather every morning on this show. You guys know that. The board op that relieves him was doing hurricane weather reports yesterday. He's a nice guy. I've known him. He worked at the old radio station and everything. Nice guy. And he's taken it upon himself to do the hurricane weather reports, I guess from home, and he's emailing them to Mike. And that's really rude, I think, because he's knocking Mike off the air and taking his thing. So I told Mike, he told me this morning when he came in before the show, I said, don't make a habit of that. You know what I mean? Everybody that works at a radio station wants to be on the air. No matter what they do at a radio station, they want to be on the air. So there's me. I was lucky. I always was on the air. No matter what I did, all different things, but I was always on the air pretty much, except for the first couple months. And I already did. I already did. So any opportunity someone has to be on the air, they're going to grab it. But you gotta fight for your. You gotta fight for your space.
You're so intense.
It's true. If he lets him get away with it, he'll be doing it every day. He's a nice guy. I don't think he knows what he's doing. I don't think he means he's trying to be helpful. The guy is not. Some of the people I worked with in the past are nasty bastards that'll screw you over just to get on the air for 5 seconds. He's not. These guys aren't like that. But it's rude. I don't like it. All right, here we go.
Back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, hear us in Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere.
Do you need new tires yet? No. All right. Welcome back, everyone. Coming up on 20 minutes after the hour, I'm Brian, the Steve Kane Show. You know, all this wet and rainy weather, you don't want to be on the road on bald tires. And Friendly Tire in Margate, you know, at Friendly Tire in Margate, you can get new tires out the door and on the road for as low as $70 a tire. And when I say out the door and on the road, remember, Mike at Friendly Tire doesn't charge you to balance the tire, mount the tire, or dispose of your old tires. The price he quotes you over the phone is your out the door and on the road price. Great tires. You know, my daughter who's here with me today, we shipped her car to California when she moved to Los Angeles. But before we did that, I took her car to Friendly Tire in Margate and got 4 new Firestone tires on it. Because I knew that, first off, you know, you can't find tires as low as Friendly Tire here in South Florida. Could you imagine what they are in Southern California? And I just asked my daughter during the break, I said, do you need new tires yet? She says, no. And it's been about 2 years, right? You get them rotated, every other oil change and all that stuff, like I told you. See, it's been almost 2 years. Driving around in the Pacific Coast Highway and all of that stuff on tires from Friendly Tire in Margate. These are great tires. Give him a call. Friendly Mike will give you a quote right over the phone. He has all the brands you know and love, Bridgestone, Firestone, Pirelli, and all that stuff. I like Firestone just because I grew up on Firestone. But he has all the brands you know and love. Give him a call, 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. That's 954-977-9445 for Friendly Tire in Margate. Okay, so the Real Clear Politics Electoral College prediction is that Trump will be winning the Electoral College, currently 281 to 257. Remember, you only need 270 to win the Electoral College. CNN last week gave Trump a 70% chance of winning the Electoral College. And all of the credible polling organizations out there are projecting Donald Trump to win the Electoral College, some of them with over 300 votes. And the Real Clear Politics average is giving Wisconsin and Michigan to Kamala. And the internal polling that's leaked out says both Wisconsin and Michigan are in Trump's favor. But that's what's going on. So all the Electoral College polls and projections are giving it to Trump, which is all that matters, not the popular vote. You know, these polls, if you see any poll that has them neck and neck or Kamala ahead, that's a national poll where they've oversampled Californians, New Yorkers, and Oregon people and stuff, okay? The Electoral College is where you've got to... There's two sets of polls you look at if you look at them. The Electoral College predictions, because that's how the election's decided, and the battleground polls. And everything is in Trump's favor. There's one negative that Trump has going against him right now, and that's the aftermath of the hurricane in North Carolina. We all know about that. I've been talking about that the last week. So then yesterday, Tim Walz comes out and starts talking about the elimination of the Electoral College. By the way, why is he undermining the election results here before it's even happened? Tim Walz is calling for the elimination of the Electoral College. And this is an interesting thing. A couple years ago, Jefferson Davis, the Confederate president, after the war, he wrote a book, the history of the Confederate States of America. And I read it. It's free on like Kindle and all that stuff. You can get it for free. And, you know, it's not a very good book. Jefferson Davis's book is not that great. But he was pretty pissed off that he lost the war. And the first whole part of the book, when Jefferson Davis wrote after the war, of course, is not just a justification for the Confederate States leaving the Union. His whole argument is based on the unfairness of the Electoral College. Okay? And the Democrats in 1858, 1860 were obsessed with eliminating the Electoral College because they knew they were losing their grip. So, this has been going on for over 150 years. So why are the Democrats always working to eliminate the Electoral College? It's because they're not that popular. How popular Democrats are in every election is so out of proportion because Democrats are overrepresented in media. And not just, when I say media, I don't just mean news. They're overrepresented in entertainment media too. So their influence that you see publicly is far out of proportion to their true representation in the country. And Tim Walz making his Jefferson Davis Democrat argument about the unfairness and discussing the elimination of the Electoral College, if they were truly popular, they wouldn't be talking that way. The Electoral College protects us. I mean, think about it. If we didn't have the Electoral College, California and New York would decide every election. That'd be it. We'd be run by California and New York because there's so many people, in those states and a few other blue states. Right? And they have these pockets with these big major cities where they're all brainwashed to be blue. But this is what Democrats are not that popular. They're not representative of the mainstream people. They like to think they are, but they're not. And that's becoming more and more apparent each and every day because we have all this new media. Elon Musk was interviewed by Tucker Carlson a couple days ago, and Elon Musk told Tucker that if Kamala Harris wins, they're going to arrest him. And he was not joking. He says they're going to bring charges against his company because he bought Twitter and made it a free speech zone. And they can't control the flow of information anymore, and they're going to arrest him. Gavin Newsom's been talking about arresting Elon Musk for weeks. Hillary Clinton, Tim Walz, Gavin Newsom, and Kamala have even been talking about limiting the freedom of expression on X because they can't control the messaging anymore. Give you an example. Look what's going on now. Kamala Harris went on a media blitz. Colbert, Stern, The View, Call Her Daddy, the podcast. What was the other one I left out? 60 Minutes. I'm sure I left one out. And look at what's happened because they don't control the flow of information anymore. She's being ridiculed because every interview was a clown show. Right? She told the ladies on The View, what would you do differently than bite? Absolutely nothing. She takes a sip of beer with Colbert. She looks like an idiot. Okay? Howard Stern, she was talking about eating, grape nut cereal? Which I don't even believe that she does, okay? Do you think Kamala eats grape nuts? Though everything about it was a joke. But if we didn't have the new media where we could talk and share this with millions of people in an instant on social media, this would be presented in mainstream media as a credible person who had just had this great media blitz and was making America laugh yesterday, as opposed to what really happened. She looked like a clown. And what I started with at the top of the hour at 6 o'clock was how Biden's undermining her yesterday. She did her media blitz, and Biden does 2 appearances tearing her down in a different way in each one. This is a fantastic moment we're in. This is an experience that we've never had before in this country with the Democrats, and I love it. Now, we're going to take our break for the bottom of the hour. When we get back, there's a lot more to talk about. Our number toll free, 1-888-465-2631. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back.
Make it morning radio great again. You're gonna really love it. It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Polling shows that a lot of people, especially independent voters, really want this to be a change election. Mm-hmm. And that they tend to break for you in terms of thinking about change. Mm-hmm. You are a member of the President administration. Mm-hmm. Under a Harris administration, what would the major changes be and what would stay the same?
Sure. Well, I mean, I'm obviously not.
causes. They just want someone.
So again, these conditions could be felt as soon as this afternoon and really starting to peak as we get into the late night hours. So keep preparing, stay safe, and I'll have that latest advisory around 8 a.m.
Weather brought to you by All Year Cooling. Enjoy free AC replacement estimates along with same-day service and installation. Visit allyearcooling.com to schedule your service today. And remember, the All Year family is here to serve your family all year long. And now, a True Oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
Oh, yeah. Let me get that way. I don't know if the peacocks will come down today, Emily. They haven't been coming down this week because I don't see them in the tree. I saw them in the tree a few minutes ago. So maybe they have. Yeah, maybe they have come down. Oh, I just saw one jump for the first time. Missed. Yeah, I saw his tail. I didn't see his body, just his tail. They jumped down from the branches.
Where did he jump to?
See that big tree right here? This big tree right here, Emily.
Palm tree?
The big one, not the palm tree. It's a big tree. It's like 50, 60 feet high.
Oh, up there?
They sleep in that tree, and then when the sun comes up, they jump from branch to branch all the way down.
I see one up there, I think, yeah?
Yeah, there's one up there.
Oh, is that his tail?
Probably. You usually see the tails. And it's really weird. They're big, too. They're huge. And their tails are like 5 feet long.
Crazy.
Yeah. But sometimes when I leave, all of them, there's like 4 or 5 of them, they're all next to each other, hanging out on the wall. Outside the door on the back of the building. We'll see if they come down. I don't see them now.
What's going on?
I don't see him now. I just saw his tail go down. I didn't see his body. I've never seen him do the hop. But I'll see them on a different branch.
I didn't know they could fly like that.
I don't know what they do because there's not branches all the way down.
Yeah,
so
they must fly up there.
I don't know how they do it.
They have a little teleport.
But they go pretty much almost to the top.
Wow. Birds are really cool. I like birds.
Yeah. We'll leave out the back door because they hang out in the back if they're out.
I think peacocks are cool. Oh, man.
So they have angel water in both hours back to back. What's in the 8 o'clock hour?
I just noticed that angel water she didn't send me anything for 6 o'clock. I noticed that was supposed to be for 7 o'clock.
Oh, I better do it again then. Okay.
So I was like, crap. 8 o'clock is Sloman's and...
Inflation is crushing Broward families' dreams.
Sloman's in Appleton.
Okay.
Interest on debt than it does on national defense. This is not sustainable. Chris Eddy is a retired Air Force one-star general, a retired FBI intelligence leader, and a current Weston City commissioner who has balanced budgets. Help him stop the chaos by electing him as your next congressman in Florida's 25th district.
Deborah, new member. Welcome, welcome.
Medicare recipients, listen up. Open enrollment is the only time of year you can make changes to your existing Medicare plan. Call Debbie at I Will Advisors. No matter where you're located in the state of Florida, for expert help this open enrollment period. 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080. That's 954-753-8080.
That's so smart. Yeah, it's like, wait, but maybe they go from like a tree nearby?
Yeah, maybe, and then they like fly up probably.
Yeah.
Watch.
They have their own little path.
Oh, there he goes. They can fly a little bit.
So they probably jump on one of the trees lower.
I just saw his tail, the top of his tail. I didn't see the body going from branch to branch.
Maybe there's like a lower. Maybe.
I look every day, and I can never catch them doing it.
I've only caught them once.
Yeah.
The years I've worked there, only once I've caught them jump down.
All right, welcome back. Coming up on 35 minutes after the hour. Okay, so just play a couple clips here. On the end of yesterday's show, towards the end, elderly lady called up. You hear this call? She's in Tampa Bay. The last hurricane hit her, Helene. She has a tree on her house, so she's scared to death. So she was driving to Lakeland to get as far away from the ocean as she can. And I was telling her, Lakeland's really not far enough. It's inland, but you're going to get hit. She's going to stay in a hotel there. And it's really, I was watching last night on the Weather Channel, and they had a live camera of Alligator Alley. Did any of you see this? Now, for those that don't know, Alligator Alley is a road. It's I don't know if that's considered South Broward. It's kind of in Central Broward, a little south of Central Broward. But Alligator Alley is a road that once you get as far west as you can in Broward, and you hit the Everglades, Alligator Alley crosses the Everglades and goes to the other side of the state. And it's not really a big highway. When I was a kid, it was like a 2-lane highway, and people used to drive down Alligator Alley. These killers would go and like murder people and drop their bodies off on the side of Alligator. Now everything with all the sun pass and everything, they can't do that anymore, I guess. But it was a traffic jam across Alligator Alley heading east over here to the East Coast. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, people are desperate getting out, and I wonder, where are all these people going? How many hotel rooms are there? And in Central Florida, like at Disney World and Universal Studios, they're not even taking reservations today. You can't make a reservation. They're not taking them. They don't want the responsibility for you. I guess if you're already there, they're stuck with you, and you'll ride the hurricane out in the hotel, which sometimes, a lot of hotels have generators and stuff. It's not necessarily a bad thing. But people there's real this Hurricane Milton has been reported by most major meteorologists as possibly being the worst natural disaster to ever hit the state of Florida. I don't know if that's an exaggeration or not. I hope they're all wrong, but it's a bad one. And you see these people getting out, they're desperate. And we've seen everybody in North Carolina and in Georgia with Helene that have lost everything, and they're still scraping by. It's really a disaster. So what does Kamala do? Kamala goes on all these idiotic shows yesterday and talks about stupid stuff. And, I was telling you guys I guess it was the beginning of last week, that to me, I believe Kamala's given up. Because if she were a serious candidate who thought she had a chance, she's the sitting vice president of the United States. That comes with a lot of prestige and influence, more than you think. I know everybody thinks vice presidents are a joke. But because of that, and not only is she the sitting vice president, she's the nominee of one of the two major parties. She's able to go anywhere she wants because of her position. She could attach herself to all of this hurricane and aftermath and look like a big leader and a big deal and look presidential. I give an example with Ron DeSantis. Ron DeSantis lied to all of us. He never liked Trump. He was fake MAGA. And everything I ever said about him was true during that primary period. However, when there's a hurricane, like now, he's the best. And the aftermath of the hurricane. Remember when, was it Sanibel Island that had the bridge knocked down during those hurricanes a couple years ago? He got that bridge rebuilt so quick. Out to Sanibel Island, I've never seen anything like it. And I've been watching Governor DeSantis on TV this week. He is a great leader in times of crisis. Now, I don't know why he's so bad on the campaign trail and he's so weird. When I was with him at that event we did with him at Wings Plus, I was a little surprised how he was. And when he was on the campaign trail in Iowa and everything, he was very strange. I don't know why he's uncomfortable in those situations. But when he's leading as a governor, preparing for a disaster and in the aftermath, he's the best. He's the best governor ever, of any, not just Florida, anywhere. I mean, he's the guy you want. That's why I say, with all of his betrayals and everything, if Trump makes him the head of FEMA when his term is up, DeSantis, in Trump's second term, I wouldn't be bothered by that. That would be a good move for him to run FEMA. He'd be very good at that. And Kamala Harris, if she really was in a competition with Trump where she thought she had a chance to win, instead of sitting down with these idiots that aren't moving the needle anywhere, she goes on The View, all those people hate Trump already, they're going to vote for her. Howard Stern, Colbert, all those audiences hate Trump. They're going to vote for her anyway, no matter what. They don't care. So why doesn't she get involved with these hurricane issues and look like a leader? Well, there's a couple possibilities. One, she's given up and she knows that it's hopeless and she doesn't want to bother. Another one is that she's just so incredibly stupid that she thinks doing these interviews are helping her. I don't know. But I do know this, that if Kamala Harris were to really get involved with the pre-storm and the aftermath, that would help her in the polls. I wouldn't like it. I don't want her to go up in the polls. She's getting creamed by Donald Trump right now. And I'm not offering her advice, not that they would take it. Kamala Harris ain't going to take my advice. You know, I don't know who would take my advice, but certainly not her. But she really, truly would go up in the polls with people if she showed that she was competent. See, Donald Trump is doing incredibly well. Incredibly well. There are so many people that are voting for Donald Trump that hate him. And you see some of these polls, it's interesting. A lot of people that are not Republican are voting for Trump and will vote for Democrats on other things. There's a poll in North Carolina I saw where Trump is leading Kamala, but the Democrat for governor is leading. Now, for the life of me, how you can vote for a Republican and a Democrat on the same ballot in important jobs like that, I don't get. But that's what's happening here. Okay? And the reason that Donald Trump has people that hate him supporting him and voting for him, and the reason that Donald Trump has Democrats that are lifelong Democrats and are still liberals voting for him is because America's in a crisis point now. The crime wave, the border crisis, and the out-of-control prices, okay? This has people worried. We have this Hurricane Milton coming, and that's scary, and it's a big disaster coming to Florida and everything. But people around the country are trying to figure out how they're going to make rent next month, or have grocery money next month, or enough gas in mom and dad's car for both of them to get to and from work all week, okay? Because prices are so high. So one of the reasons Donald Trump is performing so well in places like Wisconsin and Michigan that are Democrat areas right now, because people are in crisis mode. There's a bunch of Hurricane Miltons and Helenes all over the country in people's personal financial life, or the crime wave and things like this. And Kamala Harris, if she showed that she had some competency during these natural disasters like the hurricane that's coming, Milton to Florida right now, a lot of these lifelong Democrats would change the vote back to Democrat and not Trump if she would get involved. But she's not going to do it. And one of the reasons she's not going to do it now is because if she does it now, it'll look like she's doing it because people put pressure on her. And Kamala's not going to let anybody tell Kamala what to do. That's just the way of it. Now, I want to tell you guys this, that if you or someone you know and love have neuropathy, you want to call Lighthouse Medical Center. You know, we found them out of necessity because Steve had all these neuropathy symptoms. I've gone through the list so many times. These are awful. It's living torture. Numbness, pain, burning, tingling in the hands and feet, muscle weakness, dizziness, muscle twitching, the feeling of pins and needles in the hands and feet, maybe no feeling at all. Some people have all of these symptoms at the same time. It's awful. Your primary care doctors and your specialists will tell you there's no treatment for neuropathy. That's your life. Go home, suffer, learn to live with it. That's not the case. Lighthouse Medical Center in Pompano not only has a neuropathy treatment, they have a neuropathy treatment that works and that lasts. Because we ran across this quite by accident. Steve had his treatment at Lighthouse Medical Center over 2 years ago, and his neuropathy symptoms have not returned. It's amazing. Give them a call. Make sure you mention you heard about them on the radio so you can take advantage of their no-charge consultation. Their number, 754-222-6642. 754-222-6642, and online, lighthousemedicalcenter.com. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
Hey there, it's Brian Craig. You've heard me tell you about how Dr. Appleton is rid me of pain with his laser away pain treatment. Shoulder injuries, arthritis, knee pain, all gone, and more. But don't just take my word for it. Monica called me live on the radio to tell me how Dr. Appleton rid her of pain.
Well, my name is Monica. I'm from Boca. I'm calling because several weeks ago I had a lot of pain on my knee, and I went to see Dr. Appleton. He relieved me from my knee pains. I can walk. And this week I went to see him. I had excruciating pain on my hand, and I had a treatment. And I just want to say out there to everyone, it works. It really works. I am pain-free from my hand. He's amazing. Friendly staff. He's wonderful. And I highly recommend it. And I thank you so much for the recommendation. I'm very grateful.
Call Dr. Appleton right now and say bye-bye to your pain, too. 954-973-0710.
How can you think about one man every day and focus on that when you've got millions of people?
Inflation is crushing Broward families' dreams. The U.S. spends more on interest on debt than it does on national defense.
Travesty of Afghanistan. And
Chris Eddy is a retired Air Force one-star general, a retired FBI intelligence leader, and a current Weston City commissioner who has balanced budgets. Help him stop the chaos by electing him as your next congressman in Florida's 25th district.
I'm Chris Eddy, and I approve this message. Have you put off buying new tires because you thought they were too expensive?
Let's just start off with the debate and early voting starting tomorrow. You've had
New and used tires. New tires as low as $70 a tire. That's out the door and on the road because Friendly Tire doesn't charge you to balance the tire or mount the tire. They have thousands of used tires in stock too, starting at just $30. Call for a quote right over the phone. 954-977-9445. 954.
One was told about these calls. At the New York Times reporting tonight, of the 19 officials that they spoke to, not one was told about these calls. So that's crucial, and context always matters here. Trump's desire to be close to Putin is important.
Here's your mom commercial.
His admiration for him is important, and his clear support of Putin's view on Ukraine as just one example.
Crazy about the border is in the state of Michigan. I didn't know this statistic until today.
There was an audio sound, but I was looking for, and I can't find it.
No more mood swings, better sleep, and no more night sweats. Call Dr. Matez for a free consultation today at 561-320-8893. That's 561-320-8893.
We take on the social justice warriors for breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show is on.
All right, we are back. Coming up on 48 minutes after the hour, I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. You know, these interviews that Kamala Harris did yesterday, the only reason she really did them is so she could say that she did interviews, that she didn't hide for the whole time. It was really bizarre, these interviews. But one thing came out through this nonsense yesterday that they were promoting. Bob Woodward has a book out. And Bob Woodward is a real, well, he's a lot of things. He's a jerk. He used to be somebody important. And Kamala was talking about this Bob Woodward book. I didn't even know he had a new book out. I haven't paid attention to Bob Woodward in a long time. And in the new Bob Woodward book, Bob Woodward alleges, talking to all these White House people, that President Trump secretly gave Vladimir Putin, which were at the time an impossible thing to get, only government officials had, COVID tests, so that he could test himself for COVID. And there was a narrative they were trying to start with this through Bob Woodward that, of course, Trump is a Putin puppet. And yesterday, J.D. Vance had a rally, and he did something in the rally that was pretty cool. he started taking questions from not the press, but people in the audience. And somebody asked about Bob Woodward. Any of you guys see this? This was great. This is J.D. Vance yesterday being asked about Woodward.
I wanted to ask you about Bob Woodward's new reporting, specifically about Trump and Putin's calls. Have you had conversations with the former president about his relationship with Putin and what those calls entailed?
I honestly didn't know that Bob Woodward was still alive until you just asked me that question.
Okay, I didn't know that Bob Woodward was still alive till you asked me that question. That was a pretty good response. But you know, this thing with Bob Woodward, if you notice, there was in the afternoon on CNN, and then this Bob Woodward book, and some of the discussions with the Bob Woodward book, they were promoting this Russian lie again, that Putin controls Trump. They always go back to Russia. And I just want to tell you a couple things about it. First of all, Bob Woodward is not an investigative journalist. This is one of the biggest lies they continue to promote, and they act as if he has all this credibility from Watergate. The entire story of Woodward and Bernstein doing investigative reporting during Watergate is a complete lie. We found this out when Deep Throat died and his identity was revealed. And Bob Woodward had a whole book written about their relationship, and it released almost the day after the guy died. I got the book and read it right away because I was always curious about this. It was always a big mystery on who the source was for Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein. And Mark Felt was number 2 guy at the FBI under Hoover, and when J. Edgar Hoover died, he assumed he was going to be made the director. Nixon appointed somebody to be the FBI director. He passed over Mark Felt. Mark Felt was pissed off. He knew Bob Woodward from years before when Bob Woodward worked at the Pentagon, and he gave all the information to Bob Woodward to print in the Washington Post. Bob Woodward is a deep state operative, okay? He's a deep state operative, not a reporter. In fact, if you go back to and watch the movie, All the President's Men, there's discussion in the movie about why does Bob Woodward have this story? He's not a reporter. They hooked him up with Bernstein to give credibility because he's a deep state operative, and they needed a real reporter to give credibility to the story that he was being fed by the FBI. The same people that have been trying to bring Trump down for almost 10 years now. Okay? So Bob Woodward, he's not a credible person. He comes out with this narrative, okay, that Trump's controlled by Russia. I don't know why they keep floating this Russian narrative. And the only thing I can think of is that the people that are running things behind the scenes in the deep state are really old, and they grew up during the Cold War and have all this big fear of Russia, which nobody in this country really has anymore. The threat is not Russia, it's Venezuela, right? It's the open border and that passage all the way up through Mexico into our southern states. That's the threat, not Russia. They're not the ones invading us. They're not the ones killing Americans, raping our women. Remember that woman I was talking about yesterday in Texas? Venezuelan gang members nabbed her in her driveway, took her in her house, beat her, threatened to cut her fingers off, and stole $50,000 from her. I think they left her with her fingers. I'm surprised they left her alive. So the threat's not Russia. The threat is Venezuela. And this constant effort of trying to connect Putin and Trump together, and maybe he did give him COVID. I'm not saying that's not true, but so what? Maybe it was a good idea. You know, Trump had said that Putin didn't invade Ukraine when I was in office. Putin did 2 major invasions, Crimea under Obama, Ukraine under Biden. And during those Trump years, nothing. So why? If he controlled Trump, he could have done anything he wanted. So why didn't he do that? Because he was afraid of Trump, and Trump had a relationship with him. Why do you think Iran is working so hard to kill Donald Trump right now? Because they're afraid of him coming back. And now they know. They see the internal polls. They know what we know. That Trump's winning. And they have this limited window. And if they were successful, they were not. Thankfully, that plot was stopped, that Iranian plot. But if they were successful, if J.D. Vance, who we didn't have picked at that time, by the way, But if J.D. Vance were to be, no one's going to beat Trump. And they know that, so they're afraid of it. They're not trying to kill Trump because he's losing. All right? They're trying to kill him because he's winning. That's the motivation. All this talk, why did this, why did they do it? It's because he's winning. That's the entire motivation, and everyone knows this. And this continual Russia nonsense with Trump is just the most bizarre thing I've ever heard. But maybe he did give him the COVID test. Who cares? What does that mean? He gave him COVID test. Maybe that helped stop a war. You know, if Putin would have invaded Ukraine during the COVID period, especially the worst parts of the lockdowns and shutdowns, how would there have been a NATO response to a major European invasion by Russia then, when so much of the government and the governments of Europe and the world were under lockdown? How would they have been able to wage a defense against that? They probably would not have been able to. So keeping a good relationship with a dictator is not a bad idea. And they act as if because Trump says good things about Kim Jong-un or some of these others, that something's wrong with him, that there's something wrong with that. How are you supposed to have good international relations with leaders that you're insulting all the time? It's impossible. You can't do it. So what Donald Trump is doing is how you're supposed to react when you're... But this thing with Bob Woodward, it's interesting because usually Bob Woodward has these books out and everyone's talking about them. And I noticed this one, not so much. And I don't know if it's because Trump's so popular now or if Bob Woodward is just so irrelevant to the rest of the media. Maybe it's a little bit of both. But this Russia thing, people aren't going to buy that anymore. Now, I want to take a moment to tell you guys about Angel Water. You know, you've been hearing me talk about Angel Water for the last few weeks. It is absolutely amazing. I'm going to give you their number in a few minutes. Write it down, call Angel Water, and Rocky from Angel Water is going to come out and test your water. He came out to my house and tested me. I was in shock at what was in the water. You know, these forever chemicals that the EPA say are the most dangerous thing in our water right now, that's bad. And one of the things that very much surprised me is how much chlorine was in my water. My water, coming out of my sink, and I was drinking this, had 3 times the amount of chlorine in it as a public swimming pool. And a public swimming pool has many times the amount of chlorine as your swimming pool in your backyard has, because it's a public pool and you got to kill everything in it. I mean, I just couldn't believe it. I've had the Angel Water system for 2.5 weeks. It is absolutely amazing. First off, I'm drinking more water than ever. The water is just delicious, and it tastes, the way I describe the flavor of the water, not that it has a flavor, but you understand what I mean. It's like Fiji water, which is the, upscale, expensive bottled water is Fiji water. It reminds me of Fiji water. And just this morning, I was showing my daughter, I opened up the dishwasher and I took a bowl out of the dishwasher and I said, feel this bowl. The dishes are they've never been this clean. Because the water that we were running through our dishwasher before we had the Angel Water water purification system and filtration system, just was leaving soap residue and all of the aftermath of these forever chemicals and everything all over them. And by the way, the Angel Water system takes out toxins that other water systems don't. All right? So give them a call, and remember, they have an incredible offer right now for listeners of our radio station. Angel Water is going to give you a free, under-the-sink, reverse osmosis system with the purchase of a whole house refiner. I have both the reverse osmosis system. It's under my sink in my kitchen, and I have the whole house refiner. That's what filters all the water before it enters the home. It's absolutely amazing. They're also offering 12 months no-interest financing with no prepayment penalty. I'm going to give you the number right now. Give them a call. They will send Rocky out to test your water for free. 561-899-6585. 561-899-6585. That's 561-899-6585 for Angel Water. Make sure you tell them that I told you about them. All right, 2 hours down, 1 to go. We're going to take our break at the top of the hour. When we get back, there's a lot more to talk about. I've hardly gotten any of my show prep, and also we'll get the latest updates on the hurricane and talk a little bit more about all of that. Our toll-free number is 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. I do expect to be here tomorrow and certainly Friday unless the cone moves way south and the winds are too heavy to drive, and I'm not able to drive, I will be here live tomorrow morning. The hurricane is expected to hit late tonight, and I know we have a lot of listeners over on the West Coast, not just in Tampa, but in the Naples, Sarasota, and Fort Myers area, and of course, all of our prayers are with all of you. And if you're in an evacuation zone, get out immediately. I mean, you know, most of the people that get into trouble during these hurricanes are people that don't evacuate from evacuation zones. All right, we'll take our break for the top of the hour. Come back for our third hour after this.
I
All right, getting tired?
I want a chicken tender sub.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. That sounds good.
Yeah, it does.
Good morning, everyone. Ryan Lemon here from the All-Year Cooling Weather Center. Hurricane Milton remains a Category 5 hurricane moving northeast at 14 miles per hour with 160 mile per hour max sustained winds, just about 300 miles southwest of Tampa. Just a reminder, there are now hurricane warnings for Okeechobee, St. Lucie, and Pima counties, as well as a hurricane watch for Martin County. Martin County is also under a tropical storm warning, as well as the Palm Beaches down to Miami-Dade County.
Polling shows that a lot of people, especially in a Harris administration, what would the
Weather brought to you by All Year Cooling. Enjoy free AC replacement estimates along with same-day service and installation. Visit allyearcooling.com to schedule your service today. And remember, the All Year family is here to serve your family all year long.
He's been promised, and here's what this new whistleblower says. He says that investigators are now not allowed to come to all the Trump rallies because if they did, they would cede.
All right. David. $10 super chat. Thank you so much. President Trump just wants people to stop dying. That's exactly right. If you're on hold, hang in there. Yeah, let's get public subs today for lunch.
Okay.
Do they have the holiday subs yet? Maybe not.
I don't think until November.
Maybe we can go on the way home. Do you know, I'm gonna. If you're on hold, hang in there. Are there any more weather updates? Or is that it?
Mike has actually been doing it all.
That's Mike?
No, like he's been editing before I can even do it.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like he keeps, like every time I send it to you, and I'm about to put it in the system, it's updated. So.
Okay. Well, the reason they do that is because during the day they don't want people to turn away to go to the TV. They want to keep it up to date as much as they can. I'll do a big promo.
I mean, they have commercials and stuff like that. At least like we are consistently like top bottom, top bottom, top bottom.
See now, Emily, these ladies here, they come and they feed the birds.
Are they out there?
They just got here, yeah. I don't see the birds, but I
probably put them out there.
They're putting the food out.
Yeah. I was at when I used to do deliveries from the Wellington Green Mall. There was a peacock outside one of the outside restaurants, and they were told that they had to bring a zookeeper actually to escort, like take it away because people were feeding it too much and.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. People were not liking that, especially from a food restaurant.
I don't know what they feed it though. It's hard to tell what it is.
What do they
They go back inside that area through the gate. And one guy told... What did I tell you that he told me was back there?
Wasn't it a puma or not a puma?
A cougar or something? Or a bobcat. A bobcat. Yeah, well, there's a listener. He came up to me in the parking lot. He lives in the neighborhood. Yeah. And he was telling me there's a bobcats live back there. So I wouldn't be walking back there with the bobcats.
Bobcats are nasty.
Now, here we go.
On the air since
Say it like this.
1977.
You wrote
It's the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
See, you wrote all those. All right, the third hour has begun as the hurricane comes towards Florida. And by the way, if you noticed, here on True Oldies, we're going to have all the updated hurricane information all day, all night, today, tomorrow, the rest of the week, as you can tell. Radio station's keeping up on it. All right, let's go to the phones. 1-888-465-2631. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah. Hi, George from Albany.
Hey, George, what's up?
Hey, listen, you just made a point that I called about. When Trump was president, Putin did nothing. Didn't go into regions of Ukraine. When Obama was president, yes, that was a Crimea encroachment.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
When Trump was president, nothing. Now Biden and Harris are in the administration, and Putin goes into Ukraine unfettered.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What is that telling you?
Well, the reason... Oh, you tell me what you think it's telling, and I'll tell you what's going on.
I know right now, Trump is a powerful individual. They're afraid, they know what Trump would do if Putin steps out of control.
Well, here's the thing, okay? This war in Ukraine is a stalemate, and it's been a stalemate for a long time. I mean, I know there's fighting going on over there, but it's a stalemate. This is the deal, okay? We had a 20-year war in Afghanistan. It ended, and like a month later, this starts. The military-industrial complex donors have control over the government. That's it. And, all these members of Congress and Biden are all on the take. That's what it is.
Trump is fighting that all the way.
Well,
reasons why they themselves don't like him.
Well, the thing is, all these hardcore leftists that are like Bernie Sanders supporters, as an example, they don't like corporate interest in government. Then you should be supporting Trump. His campaign has been self-financed and from individual donors like you or me. And it's not financed by the military-industrial complex or the pharmaceuticals.
One other point about President Trump. It's got to be driven home to the American people. They saw it, but they're not thinking about it constantly. I am. The strength of the man, the internal strength of the man, the courage to survive what he went through with the gunshot wound through his ear, blood pouring down his face, getting up with pumping his fist, fight, fight, fight. Let me ask you a question. If that happened to anybody else that we can think of in any administration now or in politics today, where would they be? They'd be long.
Well, when Reagan got shot, we didn't see him really for a long time, normal. He was at Walter Reed. He waved out of the window with Nancy in his pajamas, and the media just had, oh, man, look, he's so strong. Trump hasn't left the campaign trail, and he got shot. And he went and stood in the same spot where he got shot and finished the speech. I mean, who does that? Elon Musk, when he was at the Back to Butler rally on Saturday, and he got up to speak with Trump, Elon Musk, he says, we've got one president who can't walk up a flight of stairs. We got another president who gets shot, and he gets up and fist bumps, fight, fight, fight. Come on.
Well, the anti-Trumpers, when are they just going to stop and say, look, let's admit it, folks. I think maybe they're jealous and envious of his courage and power. They dislike him so much, they're envious. It makes them dislike him even more.
Maybe. I don't know. There's definitely something in play. I honestly do not understand why anyone dislikes Trump. And I'm not just saying that because that's true. I don't understand why anyone would dislike President Trump.
See the goodness on him. You can see it. You can see the honesty on him, too, frankly. So that's all I've got to say.
Well, I appreciate it. All right, take care. Good call. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, this is Damon from Michigan.
Yeah, what's up, Michigan?
Yeah, Brian, I got a question. How do the Democrats keep the people on the? What do? Feed them caramel corn and candy corn? It's all senseless and it tastes good when it goes down, but it means nothing.
Mm.
You know, what are you supposed to say to the feckless idiots out there that keep going along with their program?
Well, I don't know what you mean, but, you know, I don't think there's as many Democrats as you think. Now, people that are like politicians and people on television, they make a living at it. But like rank and file, regular people, most people that are regular people like you or me that vote Democrat, not all, but most of them that aren't activists and just going about their life, they don't know what's going on in the world. They don't follow the news. They don't follow, and they just don't understand. That's it.
Because if they don't, they're going to lose the country, and it's going to happen so quick that they're not going to be able to.
Let me tell you, listen, it's not 4 years with Kamala Harris. It's potentially 8. Trump only has 1 term left. She's got 8, and that's look at it. Look at what's happened in the last just under 4 with the border invasion. What would 8 years be like with this?
Me to death. If
it should
to go completely, totally communist. And her father was a Marxist. What did?
Not was a Marxist. Her father is alive and is still a Marxist. And even though he's alive, we never see him. Haven't seen any of his lectures. Haven't seen any of his lectures.
He come out and even endorsed her.
No, he wasn't at. Well, they're hiding him because they don't want him to be explored.
Well, thank you.
All right. Well, I appreciate the call. Good call. Good call. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Ken from Jupiter.
Hey, Ken. What's up?
Brian, I want to expand on what you said regarding those who are Democrats voting for Trump. I think there's a vast amount of people out there, and they don't want to lose face with the cult of wokeism with their peers, if you will. I think a lot of them, once that curtain is pulled, they're going to vote for Trump just because they see the insanity of the cult that has been created by the Democrat Party.
Well, a lot of I'll expand on it, then I'll comment.
And on what your thoughts are in regards to that. I think there's a lot of people out there who say, oh, no, I'm...
Well, okay, I talk about this thing with Howard Stern, okay? And Howard Stern used to be the tough guy, fight the man, stand up against the establishment, and now he's become an old lady, right? And a lot of people have been talking, what happened to Howard Stern? And I was, Joe Thomas, when he was here last, Jupiter Joe Thomas, we were talking about this. And it's when he screwed up his marriage with his first wife, and it's the new wife. And with his new wife, who's obviously very liberal, she has a social life in these Palm Beach liberal circles and New York circles, and they don't want to lose their friends. Stephen Colbert. Stephen Colbert, when he took over that show from Letterman, he said, I'm not going to do politics. I'm a comedian. I've been doing this character on The Daily Show, this O'Reilly ripoff, but now it's all become a political show, and he's in that character all the time. And Colbert, because nobody watched unless he did it, if Colbert didn't suck up to Kamala, he wouldn't get any Democrat guest on. These liberal guests wouldn't come on the show anymore. He'd be blackballed. He'd be off the air, So these, in The View, I don't know what The View is. I mean, they're just, they're psychos. Whoopi Goldberg, when John McCain was running for president, I couldn't believe she asked this question. She had John McCain on The View. That's how long Whoopi's been on The View. And she says, if you're elected, are you going to put black people back in bondage and slavery? And I thought it was a joke, and she was serious. And so did McCain. And then she asked again, and he says, no, Whoopi, I'm not going to put you in slavery. And she says, okay, good. She was really concerned about it. She's sick. These are people that are sickos.
This is why it's a cult.
Mm-hmm.
People, there's no reasoning with them. There's no ways to debate them. They're part of a cult. They will be. However, I believe there's so many out there who don't want to lose face with their social, clique that they're in with all these leftists, that they're denying that they would ever, blah, 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 Trump sucks, blah, 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 democracy, blah, blah, blah. However, when the curtain's pulled, they're going to say, I got kids, grandkids, whatever the case might be, and the direction's wrong.
Well, most of the Democrats, and most of the Democrats that are waking up to vote for Trump, they're still Democrats. They're still pro-abortion, pro-affirmative action. They may even have a Ukraine flag on their clothes. Who knows, right? They might have a Ukraine bumper sticker on their car. But hunger is a great motivator, and they see how their money's not going far. I was talking to my mother yesterday, and she was telling me she lives alone. She spent $160 at the grocery store. She had like nothing, not even really like any meat. You know what I mean? So the inflation is causing hunger in this country and a lot of stress, and that's a big motivator. That's why I say if you have a Democrat friend that's voting for Trump, don't start debating these other issues and turn them off. We need all their votes. But that's if the economy was doing well, as scary as it is, Kamala would have a chance.
Agreed.
Yeah, would.
I can't listen to you throughout the day. How can I listen to repeats? How can I listen to replay?
Well, there's all kinds of ways. You follow me on YouTube. I put all my podcasts and everything on YouTube. You can listen to me on YouTube forever. My podcast, the Brian Craig Show podcast, is on all podcast platforms. There's over 1,700 episodes of that, so that could get you through several months of listening. Just Google Brian Craig, and you'll have forever amounts of listening.
Say this every day while you're online on the air.
Okay.
People like myself.
Well, I appreciate it. Always appreciate the plugs. All right, take care. Appreciate it. All right, we're going to take our first break of the third hour. Our number 1-888-465-2631. We'll be right back.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-GO-KANE-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig.
Hello, it's Scott here with a quick reminder that the Oldies are back on the radio right after 10 this morning, right here on South Florida's True Oldies Channel.
Mike Lindell is offering wholesale pricing for Christmas. The standard MyPillow, just $14.88. They've never been offered this low before. That's right, just $14.88. And free shipping on orders over $75. So go to MyPillow.com right now and use our promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E, and get the standard MyPillow for just $14.88. The lowest price ever. You can also order by phone. 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Promo code KANE.
Church Street Garage says this holiday season, remember the less fortunate children in our community and put aside a special gift. Donate it to Toys for Tots and help make the season brighter for a child. This message from Church Street Garage at 320 Southeast Church Street in Stewart, your Mercedes and BMW dealer alternative on the Treasure Coast. Call 772-220-2255 or visit their website at churchstreetgarage.com. Church Street Garage has been proudly serving the community since 1988. They wish everyone a happy holiday season.
Steve Kane sent you.
Now back to the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig. Listen in the Palm Beaches on 95.9 FM, the Treasure Coast on 106.9 FM, Garrison Boca on 95.3 FM, Fort Lauderdale on 96.9 FM, and anywhere in the world at TrueOldiesFLA.com.
All right, 19 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian. We are back. Let's go back to our phones. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Yeah, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brother Brian, IB.
Hey, IB.
Blood, blood, sweat, and tears. We've gone through two of those three things. And, as we talk about boundaries, okay, people crossing the borders keep getting raped, all the murders, the gang violence, the fentanyl, death, the wars. How much more punishment, like I said yesterday, do you get the president?
No, yeah, exactly. By the way, we got a bad connection, IB, which I don't know if that's good or bad. Maybe it's a good thing with IB. I don't know. I get an example here of this. It's so interesting to watch what the media, some of the media are in a panic. Remember, I was talking about this Russian disinformation thing Kamala was doing on these interviews yesterday, and then the Woodward book. I went to the Drudge Report, and this headline on the Drudge Report: Woodward blockbuster, Trump close relationship with Putin, many phone calls in past few years. See, there's this obsession that he's working for Putin. I remember when they had the Olympics in China? Remember that? And I remember George W. Bush, went to the Olympics in China. It was very hot. The reason I remember this is because it was so hot, he had his jacket off, he was sitting in the stands, and his shirt was soaking wet with sweat, George W. Bush. Do you remember who was sitting next to him with his jacket off and sweating? Putin. And George W. Bush and Putin were sitting there through all these Olympic games, buddying up with one another, like best friends having a beer at a game. I don't remember them calling him an asset. And then there's another story. This is Drudge Report. Russia cultivated Trump as asset for 40 years, ex-KGB spy claims. Does anyone believe that? I mean, this Russia thing that they brought up yesterday, which was kind of dead because it's been so debunked, is just back and it's nonstop. Now, this clip of Kamala, I wanted to pull this up. There's two clips of Kamala. But before that one, I want to play this. When Melania was on the 5 yesterday, they were asking her about, after the assassination attempts, all this rhetoric that is a threat to democracy. What's that like? She talked about it at great length. I was talking about that earlier, that it is irresponsible for people to call him a threat to democracy after there's been 3 assassination attempts, one of them when he got shot. Listen to this. This is Josh Hawley yesterday. He was on television talking about Trump's protection. Listen.
Sean, it sounds like he's still not getting the security that he's been promised. And here's what this new whistleblower says. He says that investigators are now not allowed to come to all the Trump rallies because if they did, they would see that Trump is not getting the full presidential protective detail. He's only getting it selectively. So the allegation is Secret Service leadership is now saying to its own internal investigators, no, actually, wait, don't come to that event. Come to this one over here. And they're trying to conceal the fact Trump is still not getting the full levels of protection. I don't know why they're doing this, Sean, other than that they don't want the public to know the truth. And I tell you what, I've had enough of this from Secret Service leadership. I really have. They need to level with the American people about what's going on here. They need to tell us if Trump is really getting all the security he needs. These rallies need to be safe for everybody who goes to them. And I've had enough of the prevarication, of the concealment, and the stonewalling. It's got to stop.
Okay. This is insanity. And, when we had that golf course assassination attempt right down the street from the radio station here in Florida at the Trump golf course, how many weeks ago was that? 3 weeks now? What do we know? Nothing. Nothing. By the way, the judge, Cannon, there was a death threat against her. A guy was arrested over the weekend for a death threat against her. She's the judge in the documents case, but also she's overseeing the golf course assassin trial. A death threat against that judge. But Trump's the threat? Of course, a Democrat did that threat. But even though we had that happen locally right here in South Florida, we know nothing. Where was he staying? Who was he staying with? All those things we don't know. We have the connection between him and the Butler shooting. Where was he during the Butler shooting? We don't know. And a couple weeks ago, although it might be 3 weeks tomorrow, it's been 2 or 3 weeks tomorrow since I made that YouTube video following the path of the golf course Trump assassin. And I know a lot of you have seen that video. No one has done this But I am surprised. I rushed and did that video because I thought as soon as the area was open, because they had the road closed for a few days, that everybody would be going there and showing this, and no one has. And I suspect there's a little bit of covering up going on here inside the media, because what we were told was that the golf course assassin was hiding in those bushes along the golf course from about 1 o'clock in the morning. Remember this? Until, I don't know, almost 12 hours. I can't remember the exact time off the top of my head now, but I have it all down in the video. Those bushes where he was at, because I was able to find the exact spot where he was supposedly waiting, those bushes are thin and transparent. I could see through them and through the fence and see guys on the golf course. I could not only hear them talking, I could see what they were wearing as they were playing golf on the golf course. I couldn't believe it. And we saw when they arrested the golf course assassin, he was wearing this bright pink T-shirt. You're telling me that guy was in those bushes for almost 12 hours in that pink shirt that are completely transparent and no one saw him standing there and he had a rifle and everything? Something stinks about this. The guy that the FBI put in charge of the investigation was under investigation himself because he was harassing conservatives working inside the Justice Department. Remember this? And it's also the same office that broke into Mar-a-Lago in the documents case. But regardless of all of that, here we are 3 weeks later, a month later, we know nothing about this guy in South Florida. Another thing, that witness that saw him running, have we seen her? Have we heard her interviewed? Do we know where he was staying in South Florida? How long was he here? We know nothing. And now we find out from Josh Hawley that President Trump is still not receiving full Secret Service protection, even though they've told us he was. And they're committing fraud with the investigation by only having investigators come and inspect their security when they have it beefed up for appearance sake. What's going on here? What's going on are these institutions that used to be trusted and nonpartisan and elite, whether FBI, Secret Service, are political, partisan places. That's just the reality of it. All right, we're going to take our break for the bottom of the hour. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. My name is Brian. Don't forget, open enrollment for Medicare is coming up. If you're a Medicare recipient, no matter where you are in the state of Florida, call Debbie at I Will Advisors. Debbie Klatzoff and her family have been helping Steve Kane listeners with their Medicare each and every year since 1993. And Debbie will help you with your Medicare no matter where you are in the state of Florida. Give her a call, 954-753-8080. 954-753-8080. That's 954-753-8080. We'll be right back.
Making morning radio great again. It's the
A half hour to go.
Southwest of Tampa. The cone still projects Hurricane Milton will hit the west coast of Florida as a Category 4 hurricane early morning tomorrow. A reminder that hurricane warnings are in effect for Okeechobee, St. Lucie, and Indian River counties. Martin County is under a hurricane watch, and Martin County, Palm Beach, Broward, and Miami-Dade counties are under tropical storm warnings. Tropical storm-like conditions are expected to arrive later this afternoon. If there's any other major changes before the 11 a.m. advisory, we'll keep you up to date with it here on the True Oldies Show.
Weather brought to you by All Year Cooling. Enjoy free AC replacement estimates along with same-day service and installation. Visit allyearcooling.com to schedule your service today. And remember, the All Year family is here to serve your family all year long. And now, a True Oldies traffic check. Brought to you by the Palm Beach Kennel Club.
Heads up to Boca, an off-ramp is blocked for the crash 95 south to Spanish River Boulevard. 95 north, a right shoulder blocked for the crash in Lantana approaching Hypo-Luxor Road. This traffic update is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Progressive Commercial Insurance flexes to fit your business needs, from quick repairs to adjustable coverages and even payment options. Progressive Commercial makes it easy to get what you need. Quote today in as little as 6 minutes at progressive.com.
traffic, a service of the Palm Beach Kennel Club. The poker room at PBKC is open every day with 65 tables of action, including cash games, high hands, mega bad beat jackpots, and exciting tournaments. Bet small and win big with table games like Ultimate Texas Hold'em or 3-card poker with a $5 minimum 7 days a week. PBKC is also your best bet for exciting OTB action from Keeneland, Laurel, Santa Anita, and more. For more info, go to pbkennelclub.com.
Medicare recipients, listen up. Open enrollment is the only time of year.
Majority of the American people. Let me give you the political reality that we're in right now in October. Huge majority of the American people believe and know that we have an illegal immigration crisis. And
Hey, my true oldies listeners, John Tesh here with some intelligence for your retirement this time. When you're looking for a retirement advisor you don't trust and experience are two big qualities to look for. And as it turns out, my friend Jupiter Joe Thomas possesses both of these. Whether you're in retirement or looking to retire, I want you to give local expert Joe Thomas a call. Here's the number, 561-743-0999. Or, even simpler, you can go to jupiterjoe.com. Mention my name, John Tesh. You'll receive a free copy of Joe's book, Retirement Know-It-All. Great book. Call 561-743-0999. Or remember, go to jupiterjoe.com. That's jupiterjoe.com.
Tom Laporta here from Laporta Contracting, Roofing, and Building Restoration. I am pleased to say our relationship with the Steve Kane Show and the show's listeners keeps getting stronger and stronger. The Steve Kane Show listeners are truly the best customers we have ever had. They are courteous, intelligent, honest, and quite a joy to work with. We have completed thousands of projects for the listeners, from repairs, single-family homes, large HOA complexes, and churches, with great success, and every one of those customers are like family. We have installed all kinds of roofs, from asphalt shingles, clay, and concrete tile, standing metal seam, slate tile, and flat roof system. So come on, and let our family take care of your family. Call me on my cell at 954.
how's Barron doing at NYU?
He's doing great. He loves his classes and his professor. Going to be in New York City again.
Is there, Melania, is there something you would want people?
All right, we're back. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Our number 1-888-465-2631. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian from Deerfield.
Hey, Brian. What's up?
Hey, Brian, how are you? You know, Brian, if you think about it, the video that you did on the assassination attempt at the golf course is really the go-to video if you want to understand what really took place there. The other videos that went into detail.
No one has, and I'm in shock. I thought everyone would do this.
Yeah, that's what's so troubling. And the same thing at Butler, Pennsylvania. Where are all the investigative journalists?
Well, you know, the thing in Butler, there were a lot of people went to Butler, right? Remember those congressmen climbed up on the roof and everything? And you know, this video I did, I remember it was on a Thursday because the police had blocked the road. I drive by that way every day to and from the radio station, and as soon as I heard it was open, I went and did. I was going to wait till the weekend, and I thought, you know what? All the media are going to do this. Everyone's going to do this, so I better do it. Or so if I want to be first, if I wait till Saturday or Sunday, I'll be kicking myself. And here we are, 2-3 weeks later, and no one has bothered to do it. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think the media is very good at presenting the news they want you to hear and covering up the news.
You know what happened? Let me tell you. You know, if any of you have ever gone to Dealey Plaza and you take that tour, you know the book depository is a museum. It's a landmark, and it's a museum about Kennedy's life. And then you get to the part where Oswald was, and you're not. That area is blocked off. You're not able to stand where Oswald took the shot from. At the where this thing happened at the golf course, I was able to go right there and stand there and show. It's like going to the book deposit. Think about it. What I did doing that video, I'm not tooting my own horn here just to do it. I mean, I'm doing it because I want to, I want everybody to watch the video. It's on my YouTube channel. But what I did was like going to the book depository, 3-4 days after the event, and I thought for sure everyone would do it, and I at first I thought it was just laziness or Trump hatred and make him sympathetic. But the absurdity that this guy was standing there for almost 12 hours in a bright pink shirt with a rifle and no one saw him when I could see through the bushes and see the golfers is insane to me. It's not possible.
How soon after the shooting did you do the video?
I was there on, no, the shooting was it Saturday or Sunday? And I was there on Thursday. So I was there it was the day they just opened the road. It was blocked off, and as soon as it was opened, I was there. So 4 days later.
I would have thought it still would have been sealed off.
Yeah.
Deep investigation.
Let me tell you, the FBI, it's hard to tell. I was able to find out where he was. I went and watched some of the news when I was there, because it was hard to figure out. I looked at some of the news footage of the FBI there with their crime scene tape and where they were showing it, and I could see the sidewalk, and I counted the sewer drains, and I found the sewer drain nearest, and then one of the trees had some spots on it, one of the palm trees, and I was able to count down to the trees to find the spot where the shooter was. That's how I found it.
This is unbelievable. Now, when you were there in person, did it seem even more absurd that somebody stayed there for 12 hours in a pit?
Saw him run away when he was getting shot at, followed him, and I was able to find where he got arrested on 95 because the Martin County Sheriff did a press conference on Monday after the shooting, and he said the mile marker where they got him at was on 95. So I went to that mile marker, which was really far away. I was surprised how far north it was.
And that lady was never interviewed by any media at all.
Well, maybe she doesn't want to be, but since when does that stop the media? And my big thing is, where was he staying at when he was here in South Florida? Where did he get the AK-47?
Who was he staying with?
Who was he staying with, and where did he buy the AK? A lot of times these shootings happen, the day of or the day after. Oh, mom bought the dad bought the gun, or he bought the gun, or whatever. You know everything about the gun, even with Oswald, who did a mail order thing for the rifle. This guy, you know nothing about.
There's something dark here, actually on both shootings, but this one especially. I mean, the guy's in the wide open, and he's there all day, and it's just...
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, listen, I appreciate the call. Now, if you missed Melania on the 5 yesterday, you guys should go and watch it, and it was a very good interview. She looked great, and she dropped something that was just... really sad. We've heard, yesterday I was talking, we found out that Melania's bank closed her bank account after January 6th. Can you imagine? Do you know how prestigious it is to have any member of the Trump family have a bank account at a bank? I mean, if I knew what bank Melania and the Trumps had their money in Palm Beach, I'd open up an account there, wouldn't you? Heck yeah, I would. Who wouldn't, right? And this debanking thing, we've seen it happen, but not with people like this, right? Mike Lindell, remember his bank closed his accounts, General Flynn, Laura Loomer. There's been a couple of other people. I've never heard of banks debanking people. I mean, this is a new word that was actually coined, debanking, because they don't like their political philosophy. But what Melania dropped, which is just totally disgusting to me, is that not only did Melania's bank debank her and close her accounts like they did Mike Lindell, Loomer, and General Flynn, they would not allow Barron to open up a bank account in the bank because of who his father is. Now, we've always had first families and they typically have kids most of the time of different ages. And what we're always told when it comes to the children of presidents is they're off limits. Right? They're off limits. Well, that only applies to Democrat children. Has anybody debanked Hunter, who's involved in sex trafficking and drugs and bribes and all this stuff? Any banks refusing to take his bribe money that he gets for his dad through Burisma or China? Never heard of such a thing. But the bank refused Barron opening up an account. Before this new era with Loomer, General Flynn, and Mike Lindell, have you ever heard in your life of an American being told that a bank was going to close out their bank account? Or someone being refused opening up a bank account, but Barron Trump was? And, crazy thing about whatever bank this is, and you got to get, Melania is a class act. She doesn't tell us what bank it is. The other people, have told us, and people rightly so are like, well, I want to make sure I'm not doing business with that bank. But Melania has kept the bank a secret. These are super rich people. This isn't like you or me, unless you're super rich and listening to me. This is a billionaire family. When they open up a bank account, it's Barron's not some kid that's saved up his change and he's opening up a bank account with $80 in it or $100 in it or whatever, in quarters and nickels. We're talking about millions and maybe eventually billions of dollars. And they refused him business because of who his father is? A lot of you guys may not know this. Do you know in the state of New York, Adolf Hitler's nieces and nephews live there in New York? And everybody up there knows, now they've changed their names, they don't go by Hitler, but Adolf Hitler's nieces and nephews, there's 4 or 5 of them, some of them have died, there's 4 or 5 alive, they live in the state of New York, I bet they vote Democrat. Everybody knows that they're Hitler's nieces and nephews. Have you ever heard about the Hitler's family being debanked? No, just the Trumps. And in Barron and Melania's instance, it's one thing if they're doing it towards an activist, which is bad enough and it's not right. Okay, these things are never right, never heard of such a thing. But a first lady and the child that are supposed to be completely off limits politically, guilt by association, never heard of such a thing. But that's the Trump derangement syndrome. It's in their bones. Now, I want to take a moment to tell you guys that if you've not taken advantage of this yet, you should. This is a limited time offer that will be over one day without notice. And that is the free doorbell camera offer that connects directly to your cell phone with the installation of your Sloman Shield from Sloman's. This is an incredible offer. Sloman's, they're also going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. They're going to give you an LED touchscreen, a motion detector, 10 contacts for the windows and doors, a lifetime warranty, a backup battery, and a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield. Here's the number, toll free, 1-833-283-5050. 1-833-283-5050. That's 1-833-283-5050. We'll be right back.
Cold, hard.
See, you wrote all these, Emily.
Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here.
All right, and it's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated with the morning gold and precious metals report. William Youngerman, how the metals looking?
Lower and giving us a great buying opportunity. We haven't had a really major correction in gold or the precious metals in quite a while, and we don't have one yet either, but we've got one down to some strong support area of around $2,600 yesterday, trading as low as $2,603 and as high as $2,653. Now remember, the all-time high for gold is only around $2,680, so that's not that close, that major of a correction, not even a 5% correction. But anyways, having said that, gold closed out yesterday down $20.90 at $2,621.20 the ounce. Silver was down $1.01, closing at $30.64. Platinum lost $19 at $954, and palladium was down $5 at $1,005. Overnight, we saw gold trade in a range of $2,608 up to $2,624, and we're currently at $2,616 the ounce. That's down $5.20. Silver down 14 cents at $30.50 the ounce. Platinum down $9 at $9.45, and palladium unchanged at $1,005. It's pretty much where we're starting.
Yeah, things are looking good. And when it comes to the silver, what are the deals looking like in the different sizes of silver bars?
Yeah, pretty much silver's still on sale, and of course, there was a nice pullback yesterday of $1 after hitting a intraday high the other day at $33, giving us a great buying opportunity on silver. And the silver bars are still priced very reasonable. 100-ounce bars you can buy for just $1 over spot. The 90% silver coins just $1 over spot, and these are really good values. Of course, all the 1-ounce rounds are priced very reasonable, and the U.S. Silver Eagles, although they have gone up a little bit, are still reasonably priced compared to the highs that we have seen in the past.
Absolutely, yeah. So give William Youngerman a call. Now remember, no matter where you're located, you can do all your business with William Youngerman over the phone and through the mail if you're not local, no matter where you are in America or the world. But give him a call. He opens up at 10 a.m., 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010. His address, 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca, on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road, and online at WilliamYoungerman.com. And at WilliamYoungerman.com, you can find both his phone number and address. All right, William Youngerman, we will check in tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day.
All right, we'll be right back.
Warriors for breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show is on the air.
All right, I noticed, I'm looking out of the window, there's hardly any cars in the parking lot, and we're in this big office complex. We're not in the cone, but people are using any excuse they can not to come to work, I guess, right? Yeah, that's correct. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Brian. It's Laura. How are you?
All right, Laura, what's on your mind?
Yes, the podcast, I saw it on the podcast, on YouTube, I said, with Melania on Fox,
Oh, on the 5 yesterday. I had no idea until after it was over, and I went back and watched it. Did she not look great?
She looks beautiful. She's beautiful. I love Melania.
If you go back and watch that interview, Dana Perino was so nervous with next to Melania, and I wasn't sure if she's overwhelmed by her beauty and doesn't like not being the prettiest woman at the table, or is it because of her mentor, George W. Bush, doing everything he can do to undermine her husband? I don't know what it is, but Perino was really nervous with Melania yesterday.
She was weird. And she asked a question that I didn't like. She said, how come that we know all the policies of President Trump and we don't know any policies of Kamala, and still they are so close on the polls? And she said, I don't believe in polls.
Yeah, but she was very good. I might read Melania's book. I wasn't going to read Melania's book because I thought it was kind of like for women. My wife's going to read the book. But I think I'm going to read Melania's book now, too.
Yeah, and the thing is, I was shocked. That the bank, they didn't accept her. The charity, who does that? And then they say democracy. This is America. This is United States of freedom. How can it be possible? I am shocked.
Well, what that is Melania was going to donate, I don't know, a boatload of money to a school for scholarships for foster children. Foster children have no family, and they wouldn't take the money for the scholarship because of who her husband is. So some foster children will go without an education now.
Exactly. And then they say democracy. They are really bad. When Elon Musk said something, now I believe him. This is, I never heard something like this.
It's insane. And they won't let Barron open up a bank account at the bank? It's insanity.
There are mad people. I'm being. When Elon Musk said maybe it's going to be the last election, I believe him.
Well, here's the thing. This debanking and things we hear. If Kamala were to get elected, the left would take that as a mandate, and they would start doing this to all MAGA people. Don't you understand? They do not think we have a place in society.
Oh, my God.
In this day and age, Especially at the financial level as the Trump family, you can't get by with cash. If you can't bank, how can you function in today's society? You can't.
You can't. And I couldn't believe when she said that. Even for charity, who does that?
It's outrageous. Here we got her husband of Kamala, who's been accused of beating women. He's got another sexual harassment story yesterday. He impregnated a nanny. Is he debanked anywhere?
No.
His wife's overseen an invasion. How many Americans have been victimized by crime, raped, murdered, or just been a victim of a crime in another way because of Doug Emhoff's wife, Kamala? Is he debanked?
No. I
mean, even Iran is not debanked. This money they send them are money that, the banks have been holding Iran's money since '79. They didn't debank Iran.
Exactly. They have all their banking account in Canada, especially.
Exactly.
And even in California. Yeah.
Being married to Trump or being the child of Trump, you get debanked. But if you're an organization that kills Jews, you're not debanked? I don't get that.
It's scary, it's dangerous, and Trump has to win. If he doesn't win, it can...
We're in big trouble. We're in big trouble. Hey, listen, thank you for the call. Great call. Good points. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Top of the morning to you. It's that.
Oh.
Listen, you keep on talking about the crime statistics as if they're up. The FBI says that's not true.
Oh.
Repeat that statistic.
Really? Donald Trump talked about this. This came up in the debate with Willie Brown's girlfriend, Kamala. And Trump said that survey was done. They left out the major cities. They left out like Chicago and all these big cities around the country in that statistic. You know this.
Yeah, they don't leave out.
They did. Trump said so. Who am I going to believe, you or Trump?
As long as you're talking about Vance turns around and lies about the fact that the Infrastructure Act doesn't work when they spent $500 million in Michigan new plants.
Yeah.
That's all you guys do is perpetually lie.
Why is Kamala running for president? Why? Excuse me. Why is no, it's not cats and dogs eating Haitians. It's Haitians eating cats.
Around on purpose.
Yeah, I know. You're not drunk.
Purpose, yeah.
Why is Kamala running for president?
She's been a public servant for more than 20 years.
I didn't ask you for her resume. Donald Trump is running to make America great again. Why is Kamala running?
He's running to avoid prison.
No, I didn't ask you why Trump's running. In a sentence, why is Kamala running?
Because she has experience.
That's not a reason. That's not experience. That's not a reason. What is her agenda?
Middle class,
The middle class. Okay, I'm middle class. What is she going to do to make my life better? She said she's going to let the Trump tax cuts expire, which means my taxes are going up.
The Department of Education.
That doesn't help. The Department of Education does nothing for me. You said she's going to help the middle class. What is Kamala going to do to help me? I'm in the middle class.
What does it do for you? You went to FAU. What does it do for you?
Gave me a college education that I worked hard for. But what is she going to do for me? You said she's going to help the middle class. What will Kamala help me with that will make my life better?
You know what's amazing?
Yeah. No, I know. I don't know. That's why I'm asking you.
For 4 years, Trump asked.
All right. Thank you for your call. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah. Good morning. This is it, buddy. Don't anybody buy in the banks anymore. Everybody. I'm now advertising for coin. Everybody buy Trump coin. The banks are no good. Buy Trump coin. You know what I mean? That's what you're doing. All you do is push false narratives, Brian.
What narrative have I pushed today that is false?
Don't trust banks, and let me tell you.
I didn't say don't trust banks. I didn't say that. You made that up. I said Melania Melania, excuse me, slow down. By the way, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm slow. I'm Tom, West Palm Beach.
Tom in West Palm Beach, driving to work. You called me. You know exactly. You called me. You know exactly who I am. I didn't call you. You called me. You just dialing strangers? Yeah, well, that's a good place to be. So, no, what I asked you a question. You say I push false narratives. I didn't say what you said. Give me a false narrative that I've broadcast and pushed this morning.
You're going on. Oh, look at this guy can't get this. This guy. Tell him to go to a different bank.
Melania Trump, her bank account was closed by her bank.
Also, it's for a woman's right to choose.
So what? It's America. She has a right to an opinion.
To show how much disconnection there is between
the bank.
Trump. Okay.
Well, see, if you were a married man, which, you know, the women of society have rejected you, if you were a married man, you would understand that sometimes husband and wives disagree. Husbands and wives disagree on things from time to time. So what? If you were a married man, you would know that. Obviously, you disagree with women because all women have decided they want nothing to do with you.
Well, I'm glad that you turned the page. I'm just letting you know. Trump coin. Everybody, Trump.
This is the, you know what just happened? You don't want to deal with the fact that the women of Western civilization have rejected you, so you're just, Trump coin, you're trying to tune it out. By the way, can you come up with that false narrative I've been pushing yet?
With the fact.
Okay. Now he puts the phone down near the radio. He's dead. I want to tell everyone about Dr. Philip Appleton and his laser wave pain treatment, which is absolutely phenomenal. He's rid me of pain 5 times. You know, living with pain is not a part of growing old. I thought it was. You know, I had all these pains, and I thought, well, you know, I'm getting older now. That's just life. You don't have to live with pain. Go and see Dr. Philip Appleton. His laser wave pain treatment works on every type of pain I have ever heard of. Acute pain, chronic pain, herniated discs, rotary tears, fibromyalgia, plantar fasciitis, which I understand is incredibly painful, sciatica, neck pain, back pain, post-surgical swelling, arthritis, bursitis, work injury, sports injury, strains, sprains, the list goes on and on. His laser wave pain treatment works, guys. He's treated me 5 times. He's rid me of pain. He is absolutely amazing. Dr. Appleton performs all the laser treatments himself, and appointments are never necessary, and walk-ins are welcome even on Saturdays. Give him a call, 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonCairo.com. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is JJ from Mass. Good morning, bro.
Hey, JJ, what's up?
Well, yeah, I was just thinking about Melania, and, you know, Melania 5 languages, and Harris, 4 or 5 accents, and just the Democrat Party, I mean, they're soon...
That's true. Listen, we're almost out of time, but you're right. They're putting themselves out of business. That's true. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hey, 20 seconds. What's on your mind?
Yes, hi. I just wanted to say that some of my Democrat friends that I've almost turned to Trump, into Trump lovers, they still hold against him how he walks through the pageant when he used to be in charge of the pageants, you know, and they all hate that. And I said, well, what about...
Why are they watching? Why were they watching the women change their clothes during the pageants?
Well, they said that Donald used to go through the dressing rooms while they were getting ready for...
I've never heard that before. Okay, listen, we're out of time. Talk to you tomorrow. Steve Kane Show. See you tomorrow. Good luck on the hurricane.
USFS 104, HD3 Miramar, WIRK 103.1 HD3 Indiantown, and Hurry Broward on 90.
Now, guys, don't forget to order your copy of The Sound of Light from Robert Allen Miltenberg. There's a link in the description of the video. This book is available for free on Kindle Unlimited. It's also available for, I don't know, like very low price on regular Kindle. And the paperback that I have here is just $10. Robert Allen Miltenberg, this is his 3rd book I've promoted. And he's in the YouTube live chat pretty much every day. You can look him up on Amazon, and all of his books are listed there. But the link, the direct link to The Sound of Light is in the description of the video. Order your copy, all right? Okay, guys, thanks for watching. If you're new, subscribe. If you're already sub, like the video. Okay, I'll see you later. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take care.